Well, can you believe it? For the second time this year, we're back with Mr. R to talk about video games. How very exciting. Mr. R, you're here.
I am indeed here. How are you? How are you, Kyle?
Uh, oh, well, that'll be determined by the goodness or badness of these video games, perhaps, which we're not spoiling yet. So I guess I'm good.
And the goodness and badness of each other's takes as well, I assume.
Oh, very important. That's a very important. That might be more important than the games, in fact. So we'll have to see about that. But true, your name is not actually Mr. R. It's something else, I hear.
Something else? Yes.
Well, in case you want to intro your
Yes.
your actual where people can find.
Yes, I'm so used to you just calling me Mr. R. Yes, I am Riker7. That is my full name. I'm sure it will be written
Full legal
down.
name?
Correct. Yes, my full legal name, Mr. 7. It'll be written down, hopefully, in the description of Kyle's video, along with all the associated
I'm pretty sure I remembered
links.
to do it last time.
I think you did.
Now, today we're here to talk about two video games, the Artful Escape and Mixtape. They're in the title, can you believe it? Games that some people might not even consider to be video games, but I'm sure we can talk about that a little bit when we get into it. This means some controversy with Mixtape more so than the Artful Escape, and we're kind of late to it. A few months ago more this controversy was, but we'll get into all that stuff. So the people know what a mixtape is. Well, that means two things. But anyway, we'll get into that later. Mr. R, you also make video games, or help make video games sometime. Do you have something to tell the people?
I do, yes. I am a game developer, professionally, and a game
I'm experts here.
a game I worked on recently got a release. It's called Junkster. It's by the fine folks at Stormcloud Games here in Dundee, which is where I'm based. I'm not over in Australia land. I did some assistance on the PS5 and Xbox Series version of the game, and it's out now on Steam, Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch 2. You should go check it out. It's a fun little 3D platformer throwback.
That's all the platforms I've ever heard of. Now, you can put links to Steam in YouTube videos, can't you?
You absolutely can.
Oh, well, if I remember, that'll be in there too, if everybody wants to check that out. Now, me being a great friend, of course, I played, and no, I didn't play the game yet, so, I'm bad and I'm not good. But I'm pretty sure Jockey Bacon played it or something, so.
I believe he did, yeah.
He's another one of these game developers, if you can believe it, I played like 5 games all year, and we've talked about 4 of them on the channel. No, it was a bit more than that, but here we are. Did you know, Mr. R, actually, funny story, 3 out of the 4 games we've talked about this year have been made in Australia. Did you know that?
I think I did, yeah. So these two games were both made in Australia, correct?
Yep.
Because I actually have a point in my notes that we'll get to about that.
Yes, I might have a similar note, in fact, but yes, they are from Melbourne. Name of that musician guy? Bohemian? That's not what it's called. Bohaven. What's his name?
Yeah.
Beethoven and Dinosaur. That's the name of the studio I finally got.
I actually didn't realize what you were going for there. It was so far from I was like, what? Oh, you wanted you wanted
these games.
You wanted the company name. Yeah.
Yes,
Beethoven and Dinosaur, which
is
in
Melbourne.
Which is a bizarre name, but.
Yes, well, they're a bit bizarre, as we'll get into. But also, Florence was made by somebody in Melbourne, too, I'm pretty sure. Or at least it was set in Melbourne. And Roger, I'm pretty sure, was not. So, my goodness. I didn't even intend on this. I don't think I knew that before we embarked on this endeavor, but there you go.
We just need to play the Hollow Knight games next, then you'll have played all the Australia games. Oh, and Untitled Goose Game. There's another Australia game.
True. I didn't know I bet they're all from Melbourne too. Unbelievable. Not good. We don't like Melbourne around here. But I was supposed to do Hollow Knight with Elite RE when he played it last year, but I didn't get very far. And,
it's a big game. Like, I'm pretty sure my first playthrough took 70+ hours. So
yeah, I think when Ari talked about it on Digest, he had like 45 hours or something.
And like, I finished the basic ending for Silk Song, but there's basically an entire third act you can unlock, and I started that, and then I was just like, I can't. I have other games I need to play.
I've seen the YouTube videos. I know there's like a twist thingy at the end or something. These games, in fact, Mr. R, are not long at all. They're both about the same time. Both about 4 hours, would you say?
Yeah, so I actually do have my time tracked for both of them. So Artful Escape I did in just under 5 hours, and then Mixtape only took me 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I think Mixtape's probably a bit shorter. But we are going to do this. are going to structure this the way we structured the last one, the way we usually structure movie reviews when Leori is on. And we'll talk about the Artful Escape first, and then we'll talk about Mixtape. And we will try not to intercross them. Or when we want to intercross them, we'll at least save them for the Mixtape section. But we can dive right in. The Artful Escape came out in 2021, I'm pretty sure. The first game from the studio, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm like 99% sure on both those facts. And then Mixtape came out later. So, Mr. R, The Artful Escape. Do you want to give us your overall thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I had an interesting sort of relationship with this as I was playing through. As it started out, I actually wasn't enjoying it a lot. Like, it was sitting very much at, I guess, a 5 until about maybe the halfway point. And then I think it slowly started to climb, and then past the halfway point, I thought it did start to get a bit better. And it rounded out for me at about, scores, as Bacon always says, scores are dumb, but it rounded out at about a 7 for me by the end.
Yes. Okay, interesting. Because in fact, on my June PowerPoint ranking, some of the people listening might have already seen what I thought generally about the game, but I also had it at a 7, and I did rank it as my least favorite thing I consumed last month. So my goodness, that makes it sound worse than it actually was, but it was a 7.
It's good. It's just not great.
It's like, I think I had this right because I wrote out a thing. I think I covered it here. I said, The Artful Escape feels like it's fundamentally missing something to make it good and deeply worthwhile. I say that because I didn't regret my time with it. It was neat, but it never really connected with me. It's got pretty visuals. I'm down with it being a 2D walking simulator type game, but the story and characters, which are probably the most important part in an entirely story-driven game like this, I found a little lacking. It's charming in ways, though.
Yeah, so
that's probably a good the thingy for me.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, actually. Some of my sort of overall points were art and music, beautiful, especially considering how small the team was, and that's including like their whatever external contractors they had. Clearly a lot of work went into that. Had I played this in 2021, I think I could have given it best art direction for 2021. I think it did look beautiful. I'll need to remind myself what I gave best art direction to in 2021. But yeah, I also found, especially the dialogue and some of the writing was not fantastic, which when your game is already quite shy of gameplay, you kind of need to fall back on your dialogue and your characters and your writing to kind of make up for that a little bit. But it didn't really have it, so all it really had was the aesthetics, and a game, for me, can't be aesthetics alone. It picked up in the second half, as I said. I thought it got a bit better then. But yeah, I did find... wasn't a huge fan of the main character, Francis, and it is. Go ahead. It just wasn't. It just didn't quite do it for me. It didn't connect with me, as you said.
Yeah, I think a game could rely entirely on visuals, but it would have to be like shorter and quicker, or it would have to. I don't know. There's a lot of like I don't know. There's not a lot of not visuals going on. Like it always looks rather pretty, but so like there are segments rather where like the visuals spice up a little bit, and there's a lot sometimes of downtime in between that I think kind of hurt the pacing of the game too, when you're just on the ship or you're walking through and it's like well, okay, and there's lots of talking in there that I didn't really care for. So
just had a look. I apparently gave my best art direction of 2021 to Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, so actually it may have had some competition because that game was also beautiful.
I've seen you go through portals and stuff. That was the power of the PS5, I remember.
It was. There is a very, very good GDC talk on that. Just with the risk of going into actual game dev territory. Very, very cool talk on how they did the portals.
I've seen clips from those talks before in videos. I remember the Jack and Daxter one where they were talking about why they pivoted away from 3D platformers to GTA clones and stuff like that. That was a funny talk. But true. Oh, the only other overall piece of detail I had here is that I played it on PS5. Did you? I'm assuming you played this on Steam?
I played both the games on Steam, yes.
Yes. Well, I played both on PS5. I think this game had a PS5 version. Obviously, Mixtape did. I'm not sure if this was a PS4 game that came to PS5. But I'm sure I could find out. And true, the studio is in Melbourne. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable. Australia loves pumping out the very pretty games. Because like
of all not enough money to make anything else, I don't think.
Of all the games we mentioned, both Hollow Knights, Untitled Goose Game, both these games, at the risk of spoiling my thoughts on Mixtape, all look phenomenal.
Yeah, that's true. That Hollow Knight, I didn't play it for very long, but it sure did look pretty. But true. Unbelievable the way we do it, huh? Actually, I think first we should get into gameplay a little bit more. There might be a short conversation, haha. Just in case people don't know what the game is. I described it here as a type of cinematic 2D platformer or type of cinematic platformer slash 2D walking simulator slash rhythm game. Though that makes it sound a little more exciting than it actually is. They are all quite segmented. Have you played many of the other like cinematic platform games? I think I actually asked you this last time because the two examples I have are Limbo and Inside, which I also played this year.
I have played Limbo before. I have not played Inside.
True, I think that was what you said.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Yeah, cinematic platformer, 2D walking sim. I think is actually a very good description. I hadn't considered that as a term. It is like I wouldn't even say rhythm game though. I think it at the risk of sounding like I'm going to shit on it, it's basically like a bit of Simon Says without a time limit.
Yeah.
Not even a rhythm game. Just more like a memory game than anything.
Yeah, and that's for like the boss fights really only and stuff like that. If you call them boss fights, boss encounters maybe. But true. The both game, well, more so the Artful Escape, it even has the literal like chapter select thing that Limbo and Inside have, where it's like the dots on the bottom and you can scroll through and select which one you want to start at and stuff like that. So that's cute. I like that as like, I don't know if Limbo was the first game to do that or if it's getting that from somewhere else.
There probably were others. I can't think of any, although Limbo, when I think back, Limbo was a long time ago now.
It's 2010, I believe. I had to type out for my checklist. Because every like video that's from back then that I had watched after I'd finished, it was like, oh, this is one of the first like Xbox. I can't remember what, the Game Corner or something. It was like Xbox's online games back in the day.
Yeah, I can't. I am now forgetting what the name of it is. But yeah, Xbox Live Arcade. Is that the one?
That's it. Yeah, yes. That's it.
Yeah, Limbo was up there as one of the early games, along with stuff like Super Meat Boy and.
I think even Minecraft was early on there, or something. I
don't know if Minecraft was an arcade. I don't think Minecraft was an arcade game.
I feel like I heard that whenever they were talking about Limbo being from that era or something. It's
from that era, yeah. Minecraft was the same era as Limbo.
Interesting. See, back in those days, I was playing my PlayStation 2 and my Nintendo Wii, and I didn't really become a modern gamer until I got a PS4 in 2013. I was stuck on the great Wii for my console for that.
I mean, I got a Nintendo Wii before I moved from PS2 to Nintendo Wii, and then, and then I think, I'm trying to remember if I got the PS3 or my sister ended up getting a PS3, but then I might have bought it off of her because she then got this PS3 Slim.
Interesting.
Because I think she got the PS3 to play Little Big Planet, but I kept buying games for the PS3, and then eventually I was just like, "Can I just buy this off you because you never play it?"
Yeah.
I cashed in my chips on the Wii, and the Wii. You know what? I spent a lot of time on that console, but
see, I didn't. I was mostly playing PS2 until 2013, so that was fun. But I had a 3DS, of course. I had to keep up with Pokemon, but everything else was secondary.
You see,
and then after that I got into.
You say 2013. I realized you were probably in high school around then. I was in university, so
2013 was my last year of primary school, of course.
Jesus
when I was in grade 7. Don't be ridiculous. But I think we got it for Christmas, so I would have been finished and going into high school when I got the PS4. So
yes, I would have been halfway through my university course. At that point,
I remember the PS3 coming out as like one of my first memories because my dad said we're not getting it because it doesn't do backwards compatibility. Even though I think the first PS3s did do backwards compatibility, so somebody might have just told him a lie or something.
2013, PS3 did not come out in 2013. The PS4 came out in 2013.
No. I said one of my first memories was the PS3 coming out.
Sorry,
and that was that anecdote. Yeah.
Yes, there was one mod. There was one model of PS3 that did backwards compatibility, but it did it in. The reason it was a very limited model was because it wasn't any kind of special software. It was just they built a PS2 inside it.
Yeah, I know the big the early PS3s were very big.
Yes,
and ugly and stuff like that. One of my friends did have one of those. But true, old video games and stuff. But yes, we were describing the gameplay, I believe, is where we were.
Yes.
Did you? So I kind of like the when you are doing the platforming and things are lighting up in the background. That is like kind of fun.
Yeah, I thought so.
But more of the game is like the walking and talking stuff, I think, or it might be like 50-50, and that's like less fun, I think, for me in the game.
Yeah,
I do like the lighting up stuff and the visuals, and it's all very pretty, and the different environments and stuff like that. I have them all written out later if we want to get into them. So
yeah, I felt like when you're running along and you're doing sort of the jumps, and you kind of, it's like, oh, if you do like the sort of the power, sort of the big power jump, it looks very cool. It looks very, it looks like a very sort of, it's very fun. Very fun. Looks very cool. And because there's usually a lot going on in the background during those moments, it probably makes you feel more involved in the scene than you actually are. Like it probably makes everything feel a bit more complex than actually is what's going on in there. But I'm not gonna.
It's kind of like a minimal version of like an Uncharted chase sequence or something, where it's like really not that much is going on, but it feels more grand and more epic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would say the Uncharted chases and stuff take it to a higher extreme than this, but it's that same sort of like running you through a pipeline of like scripted events, but like trying to make you not trying to make you not think they're scripted, but like immerse you so you don't think about the artificiality or whatever so much.
Yeah. Because I think as well, with the moods they're trying to create during those moments, like making it too gamey will mean that you'll spend more time focusing on the gameplay than on what's happening around you, and that's clearly not the vibe they're going for.
No. Especially like sometimes you'll do a jump and you'll die, and it'll be like it's just like annoying more than anything. It's not like, oh well, I'll get it next time. It's just like, well, I was in the rhythm for a second.
Because to go back to the
very quick and it doesn't.
Go back to the Uncharted, there's a lot of stuff going on, but you're not usually paying attention to it in the minute-to-minute gameplay. You'll pay attention when it does like one of the little mini sort of cutscene breaks during the chase. That's when you pay attention. But outside of that, you're focusing entirely on the gameplay side of it, and you're not able to take in everything around you. Like, I bet you'd need to do the same chase over and over and over again in an Uncharted game to see everything that's happening at any given time. Whilst,
whereas this one, you're going to see it all the first time.
Yeah.
It's not a very replayable game.
No, I wouldn't say so.
No. When I was watching a playthrough for it today, though, because I finished these games. Well, I finished this one about maybe a month ago. I was like, oh, yeah, remember this? So, I don't know, maybe in that aspect. Maybe in like 7 years, when I've forgotten everything, it might be replayable. But I'm not going back to do all those sliding again. The environment's like whenever you would get a steep thingy and you'd hit the on your knees button, well, you wouldn't even call it I guess you'd call it a slide. That was fun, and then you do a jump at the end. It's like, oh, this is kind of neat, and stuff like that. I do have one gameplay criticism here, though, and this is more a design criticism, I guess, than a gameplay criticism. Is that the fake choices really annoy me? Like all of his dialogue options, and I don't know if this also leans into the fact that I didn't really like the character that much. And I don't know. This is actually the example that's jumping into my head is Uncharted 4 would sometimes give you dialogue options, which were always bad and terrible. It's like, just tell me what Nate would say. Don't try to give me some. And it was very minimal in that game. But here it would be like the different tones you can take, and it's like, I don't know if this was necessary. It never like has an impact or anything. Or you can choose like the 3 books you wanted or something, and I don't know.
Yeah.
The attempts to personalize this game never really stuck with me. And this is another thing, and this is a very particular thing, going off the same sort of but same sort of ethos here, is that I don't like character customization at all. So when they gave me that option, I literally just went in like the underwear and left. So my character looked very basic, and like and the naming stuff was like that too, where I was like, I think some people would really like this, and it is thematically relevant, where he's like recreating himself or whatever, but I don't care about any of that stuff. So all that stuff kind of irritated me.
Yeah. So on the choice thing, the dialogue options are always a rough one. So this is to get into game dev mode. Whenever there's like making a game with player choice is really, really difficult, because unless you're willing to actually make almost multiple games worth of content, all it can ever really be is effectively cosmetic or directly tied to something mechanical, like say, your Mass Effects or your KOTORs, where there is like the good answer, the bad answer, and it makes you more evil or good, which usually just involves accessing additional power, stuff like that. But it comes down to just basically one number go up, one number go down. And games have talked about like the difficulty in doing this and the interesting part of doing this, such as a really good example, I think, is the Walking Dead game by Telltale. And I assume some of Telltale's other games. They have moments where you make choices and then a little thing will pop up saying, this character will remember that. But they don't. It's bollocks. But it makes you think that what you've said has, and I think that little moment actually grounds you in it a bit more. And so, like, some of your choices in that game do matter. And I say matter. They matter in the outcome of the chapter. Like, basically, you know, there are moments where you have to pick a character to save from zombies, and that character will be with you in the next chapter. But again, you'll still see the limitations there because their role will functionally be reduced so much because it could have been either one of them. And that's the difficulty that comes with anything like this, where... so yeah, I think just doing it for flavor can be okay, but with no consequence, I can understand it putting people off. It's similar, like, did you play the Horizon Zero Dawn game?
Yes. Did you get a choice in that?
There were like 3 or 4 conversations in the entire game where you had a choice of how to react. Like when the kids are chucking stones at Aloy as a kid, she can choose to be like angry, forgiving, or something else.
A little bit. Yeah. It wasn't so much the lack of impact it had. It was just like, I don't know. It's just like I don't like. I feel like the game wants you to be happy that you're like customizing it by having these little things.
Yeah,
and it's. I think it's probably worse is because it's like I don't feel like I would say any of these things. So it's just like I don't like any of these options. So maybe if it was more personalized to me, so maybe it's not the personalization that's annoying to me. It's the lack of personalization to me.
Yeah, I think it can be it can be difficult as well when you're playing a character who has a certain way of being, and then suddenly you're having to decide what makes sense for that character.
Like an RPG or something.
Yeah. On the outfit section, though, I thought it was a bit of a weird, out of left field thing. But the amount of customization, I was able to make a pretty good representation of my of my little avatar. So I was cutting about looking like my avatar.
Well, yeah, I think that's it's a very personal thing. I know some people like one of the biggest selling points to a game is like character customization and stuff like that. But I don't know. I've just like whenever you can do it in Pokemon games, I just stick with the default thing the whole way through. I've just never really been fascinated with that stuff. Maybe that is why I like the straightforward narrative third-person shooter Naughty Dog games because they give you no choice and they just tell you how it is, and it's like it's like that. But yeah, it's just a little personal thing with the gameplay choices and stuff like that. But true. What did you name yourself? Do you want to reveal this big secret?
I'm trying to remember the exact name I gave myself. I think it was something like Space Comrade.
Yeah, I think I did Mad ENT because I wasn't sure. I was recording some of the footage because I was like, maybe I'll make a video about this someday. So I think for that part, I wanted to have it be Kyle Entertainment related rather than me. So that's what I went with. I kind of like the flair, how like to cover up for the fact that obviously they didn't record all the names and stuff like that. They had the guitar strum or whatever. Come in whenever they said your name. I thought that was a little.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit odd, to be honest. Like. Now that you've mentioned it, because I was just like, okay, you've already given it set up a precedent of giving sort of like drop down, like you've got like all these predefined selections. You could record all of them. Like what it felt kind of to me, it actually took it out. I wasn't a big fan of that because it's like, yeah, okay.
Well, they did say the Mad part, right? So for my Mad ENT name, they said Mad, and then it just wasn't the second part they said, which was ENT.
But I mean, like they could have like. What I mean is that, if they were already doing like the first part as a drop down, why not just make the second part a drop down? I mean, obviously it is a lot more recording resources.
Oh, true, I guess.
Like there is that. I do get that. Like I've actually just been playing Forza Horizon 6 and they have like 300 different names you can pick from and all of them are voiced.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's a bit bigger of a budget I expect.
Yes, absolutely. That's the big Microsoft money.
True. But yes, I feel like I played a wrestling game that did like announce like whatever you typed in, it would sound out. It probably sounded terrible because it would have been like a PS1 or a PS2 game. But I feel like I remember that, so maybe I just imagined that.
I think Fallout 4, you could type your name in, but it also had like a bunch of pre-canned expected names. So if you typed your name in and it was one of the ones that it had in its database, it would use it.
Yeah. Interesting, because that's kind of cute. Because like in certain games, you can like name yourself characters, or you can name yourself the director or something, and something special will happen. So that would be cute if in like a game like they had all the voice recorded for like these set 10 names, and if you knew them, you could put them in or something. That'd be cute. But yeah. Did you have anything else big to say about gameplay? That was the only two notes I had on that
Let me
section.
see. Yeah, I mean, I said, yeah, I'm trying to think. No, not really. Not really a huge amount. No. What about? Yeah, I
Not
just
a
said,
huge
yeah.
amount of
I just said that
gameplay
the game felt almost too short. Like it was, despite being the longer of the two, it felt almost. It felt kind of too short. But that's more of a sort of pacing and narrative flow. So I'm sure we can get to
Yeah.
that.
I was happy
Yeah,
it was over a little bit, so you know.
yeah. I thought the like when you actually did the Simon Says, like again, the responsiveness when you actually did it, it did feel epic. Like, you know, they really made, you know,
Yeah.
when you did the sequence, everything that happened as a result of that did feel really cool, especially during the battle with the last jam with the Glamorgon. I have notes there actually that was awesome. That was like a genuinely really cool part of the game. I thought that felt really cool and really big.
It felt grand. But I also like the one before that too. The one when you're escaping the repressive futuristic city or whatever.
Mhm.
That one was cute too.
Yeah, that was good.
But you had to like run back and forth and do your like power slam thing or whatever. That's a little bit of gameplay for you, I guess.
It picked as I said at the beginning. It picked up a little. It did the second half and especially the final act did pick up a bit. It's just a shame it couldn't have had that momentum throughout.
I feel like maybe for me the strongest part was the beginning because they start with like almost a bit of a mystery and I was like curious and that was probably the peak of
I tell you what, I'll give you that very beginning bit, that very first chapter where it is all complete mystery. That is very good. But then when you get abducted, that's when I felt it was a bit naff. Like when you're walking through the woods at the beginning,
area and stuff.
Yeah, when you're walking through the woods at the beginning to go to like where the concert is, that was cool.
Yeah. Okay, my next section is more music, and it's only one note. Now, music and maybe the next game might be a bit more than one note. But it sort of opens, I guess both games are kind of connected to music in a sense. The lead guy, they interviewed the lead guy and the lead producer, I think, on Kind of Funny. So I watched a little bit of that. Very wacky dudes, pretty obviously. They're kind of older too, which is interesting. Not older, they're like probably like 37 or something. I don't want everybody getting the mental image of like 50-year-olds. But they do feel like very Australian guys, which is interesting.
Saying,
but they do seem like wacky. And what'd you say?
Calling them older dudes and then saying 37 when I'm only a few years away from that myself.
Oh, Mr. I turned 25 today. I'm old too.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say happy birthday. Happy 25th.
It's very funny because when I turned 25, I was indeed in a call with Bacon and RE last night recording our Mushoku Tensei discussion. So we've chronicled all of this birthday for the people.
Yeah. I turned 34 in just over a week, so.
Oh my goodness, you're July? I didn't know that.
I am indeed. Yeah, I know, it's wild.
Wow. True. The don't worry, 37's way far away, you know, so you're not old. Even if I say that all the time. Anyway, the point is, they said, the point of me bringing any of that up was that the guy used to be in a band, the main guy. So obviously music is the director guy. So obviously music is like a big part of both games, and that makes a lot of sense. We open, the title screen is very Bob Dylan-esque, and then like the space opera stuff is supposed to be very David Bowie-esque. It reminded me a little bit of Shine On You Crazy Diamond by Pink Floyd. I think that's literally just because he's using an electric guitar, and that's like maybe one of my only touchstones with it. And lots of sci-fi-esque sounds they keep going on about. I like both. I like all these sort of aspects of the game. I have some familiarity with both sounds. Was the music something big in this game? Like, are you a fan of either of these two like subgenres?
I really liked listening to music. I am not that musically literate, I guess is the term. I don't listen to a huge amount. And I don't know a lot about it, which was interesting going into these two games. But I can very much appreciate the music for what it is. And the whole way through, I was like, the soundtrack's banging. So that's about as much insight as I'm afraid I can offer. Like, which is probably not good for definitely not going to be good for the next game we discuss. Spoilers,
that's an interesting thing that's going to be an interesting discussion, I think. But yeah, it's just sort of like, it kind of sounds like Bob Dylan at the beginning. Like, whoa. And it did give me the thought of like, would probably be pretty cool if they could get an actual Bob Dylan song. And then obviously, because I don't think there's any licensed music in this one, but obviously in the next one, they very much got the ability to license some music. So that's kind of interesting. It like kind of gave me the want for licensed music, and then the next game delivered a little bit. So that's kind of cute.
I went to have a look there. Yeah, Johnny Galvatron. That is, what a name.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, the Galvatron's Wikipedia page, the website is still a MySpace link, which is peak
He's old.
2000s.
He's old. But yes, yeah, they did an interview. They seemed like funny Australian guys when they were doing it. Tim Geddes from Kinda Funny, who did the interview, he gave The Artful Escape his Game of the Year in 2021, and he's vowed to give Mixtape his Game of the Year this year. So he's a big fan, and it was they were all having fun together. It was cute. But true, that's all I have for music in this one too. So I like the soundscapes. I like the guitar. I think it's cool as you're playing it and you're going along. It sounds good. The next section I have is visuals. What did I have written here? The surrealist elements, even in the Earth Town. There's a lot of verticality. The bigger areas in small spaces is cool, like the mall in the boat or on the ship rather, and then the vault in the bottom of the basement or whatever. Lots of surrealist imagery, of course, with the aliens and how you interact with them. Like there's big giant turtle guys that eyes light up when you play, and other sort of creatures that go a bunch of different ways. These are all interesting visual things.
Oh yeah, it's
throughout the game.
Beautiful, and like the fact that every time you play, you can run around and press to play music, and they've got so much of the environment interacting with that in some way. That's really cool for a game like that. That feels kind of essential. No, the visuals are beautiful
from the beginning.
Yeah, and I've got to say, like the characters, like for a small team. Really, really big art undertaking. So huge credit to them for that. And I thought the way the characters were animated, the way it looked, the way their sort of movement looked, like it looked a bit weird, but that almost looked like deliberate. The way they especially the way you run and jump, it looks a bit funny, but it all looked like it didn't look like this was the best we could do. It looked like this was a deliberate choice. And I think
it was very stylized.
I think it's great. I think the design. I love that all the characters are wearing these wearing the big glasses. That's just a cool design choice that I really liked in them.
They've all got coats and stuff on. There's like a volume to their character designs. But yeah, it looks cool. There's a bunch of freaky aliens. There's a lot of them too, which again probably would have been very difficult for them to make like this. I like the environments. The visuals would be the number one thing you would think of. I think that would be the number one thing that would sell you on the game. If you saw like the first 10 minutes. I don't know, IGN does that, right? The first 18 minutes of gameplay or something, and you were to fire that video up and you'd be like, whoa, this looks really cool and very unique and stuff like that, and it's very charming. It's definitely going to be the first thing I think of when I think back on the game. I ran into something today when I was looking into things to make notes and stuff like that. Have you ever played Oxenfree?
No, I haven't. I've heard of it.
Yeah, because I know people are saying it seems Oxenfree inspired a little bit, the Artful Escape mostly. I think the text boxes are very similar to Oxenfree, but other than that, I don't know because I haven't played it too much. But I know that's another like story-driven. I feel like it's more isometric.
Okay,
I probably watched a video on it.
I said I've heard the name. I haven't really heard much beyond that, but I have heard of it.
So yeah, maybe the people are screaming at us in the comments, but true. I also have written out all the different environments in order. Do you want me to go through that?
Yes, absolutely. You've done way more. You've done much more than I did on terms of writing notes. So,
well, I did a little bit, So first we have Calypso, which is it's interesting because it's a normal Earth town kind of, but it is still very surrealist, where it's like this big. How would you even describe it? It's like a city upon a city, and it's all vertical. It's like very weird. You see it in the distance in the first shot of the game when he's sitting on the bench. But it's like, it is surrealist. It's like, this is not real. Like, it's an impossibility. But it has still like a very normal plain sort of feeling. It's very autumn-like when you first start, and then as you get in, it's very green and stuff like that. You even visit his house, and he's got a room up in the attic or whatever. It's a very interesting and stylized take on the...
I did think when I was in the attic, I was like, how the fuck did they get his furniture in here? That was an initial thought.
I went in a different direction. I thought this is very unsafe if there's like a fire or something. Like he is.
I mean, that
fucked if
is
he's up
also
here.
true.
There's
That
a
is,
fire down
yeah,
there.
he is fucked if there's a fire.
There was no windows. There was one latch going down. I was like, this is very unsafe. My goodness. Maybe I should be a
Don't live in
health
an
inspector
attic.
or something.
It's
Yeah.
dangerous.
But usually attics have like windows you can break if you need to dive out, I guess. But this one, I don't know. It's stylized, okay? It looked cool because it was cool, and we don't need to think too practically about it. But true, Calypso was pretty cool in and of itself. And then we have the Space Road, which is our first sort of runway that remind me of like Snake Way from Dragon Ball or something, or like a Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. You're running along.
Yeah,
there.
I did get some. I do remember getting some Rainbow Road sort of vibes. It was.
It's got like a clear bottom, you know, with floor or whatever. That's what Rainbow Road has. You encounter Lena Headey at the end of this.
I was gonna mention when the cast list was rolling at the beginning. I was like, "What the fuck?" Lena Headey, Carl Weathers as well. Like,
yeah, one of the Apollo Creed. One of them was or something. That's what all the YouTube videos said. I only recognize Lena Headey, so. But true, it's a star-studded cast apparently.
well, Carl Weathers,
has a great voice.
yeah, Apollo Creed,
Who
and then
was
he was, yeah, Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed. He was also Dylan in Predator, and he was in the Mandalorian as well. If you saw that.
All these things for old people, like Predator and Star Wars. Ew, we don't like them. We like Lena Headey in Game of Thrones, of course. That's a thing for the new guy.
Mandalorian is newer than Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but only old people watch it because it's Star Wars. Your silence means
Nonsense.
I win this argument. Terrific. But true, that one was cool. Then the first planet. Well, then we have the ship, which is 3 layers. It's kind of cool. There's a bar, and she says, "Don't buy a drink." You can do a little dance at one part, and then what is the girl's name? I've already forgotten, even though I was watching a gameplay thingy today.
Violetta.
Right. Violetta, that's the name. She has a little workshop up there. She's also a kid from Earth, but she got taken like before you and stuff like that.
Something.
So that's like
something that may bring you. So I know you're a big wrestling person. I was just looking up the voice actress for Violetta, Caroline Kinley. She was the female player LJ in WWE 2K23. I know you like your wrestling. I don't know if you like your wrestling games.
Well, I think that just means like she's the default voice, but I haven't played a wrestling game in a long time, so I haven't played the 2023 version. But that's interesting. I don't know. I did think her performance was not the best, so maybe it was a bit stilted, I thought. But yeah, it was okay. Then we have the snowy planet we go to, and then we go into the cave where it's like glowy. It's like a glow cave or whatever, which was really cool. The lights are like neon and stuff in the dark. Then you end up on a late night show, and then you wrap up with the boss battle with like this kind of bird-looking thing at the end. Thoughts generally on the snowy area, if you can remember it.
I'm trying to remember. I do remember. I think I'm surprised I didn't write anything down. No, it clears. I don't think it jumps out at me. I mean, it looked good. All the zones looked lovely, but I kind of, again, this was in the earlier half of the game, which I think I was struggling a bit with the first half of the game. So,
yeah, a bit checked out a little bit.
Just a touch.
I did like the late night show section. I thought that was pretty creative and interesting. It's sort of a character exploration, even though in the end there's not that much of a character to explore, I don't think, in the main guy, but it was cute. Then we head to the deserty kind of beach area in the next planet, which leads into the dead ancient city that was very reminiscent to me of Inside, which was interesting. And then it goes into the more futuristic, like opulent, oppressive city right next to it, is where you meet the lady and a crazy creature that screams at you on the boat, and you do all that stuff and all that stuff and stuff.
Yeah, that was very cool. I feel like I remember. I think the first vibe I got was maybe a bit of Journey, actually, when I was in the deserty area.
Yeah,
just a little bit, not too much, but there was a bit of. I was like, oh, this is giving some getting a vibe here.
I can see it. I do kind of the futuristic, like the way they were making fun of him was funny. It was very pointed because it was like his crazy outfit, because it's whatever outfit you chose and stuff like that. And it's very Oppressive is a boring way to phrase it. They were like very controlling, but only through like shame and stuff like that. Like everybody is very supposed to be very proper. And as you're like doing your gameplay section of this level, like you're going through like the like them at church and stuff like that, and they're all freaking out and calling you hideous, and then by the end they're like clapping for you and stuff like that. It was cute. That was probably my favorite gameplay section of the whole game. But yeah, then the third and kind of final planet. I guess you probably get teleported to a different planet at the very end for the final Glamagon thing.
Yeah.
Is the foresty area, because it's a more of a bright forest, and it gets dark and sort of neon a little bit, and then you're in a village.
I did really like that. I thought that was very cool. Like I thought the vibes were there. And like I said, everything was picking up for me at that point. I was enjoying it more, and so yeah, I think I took in the scenery a lot more.
Yes, interesting. I think if I was to rank them, I like the second one the best, the third one the second best, and probably the snow one the worst. But I always hate snowy areas and things, so what can I say? I'm biased. But true. Oh, and then I have written down monsters in every environment. There's cool monsters. Like I think at the beginning of the second planet, they're in like these little like rock pool things and like spread out as you run past them.
Yes,
and there's a million other little.
There's some really good, some real thought went into like the different creature designs and monster designs to make them feel really weird and different. Like, you know, a lot of sci-fi,
yes.
You know, there's a lot of, oh, we'll make, you know, all the aliens are humanoids sort of things. But this is really, you know, they really thought about this.
And it was also cool where all like the boss or bigger creatures would all have like the rhythm thingy in their design somehow.
Yeah, it was a very clever integration into it, because it didn't feel unnatural a lot of the time.
No.
There was maybe like one where I was like, I can't remember which one. There was one where I felt like, okay, this is a bit more of a stretch, but the rest of them all felt like a really natural integration.
My favorite one was the Lena Headey creature, which was a very weird pish posh of general items that made a face.
Yeah, it was a bizarre design, and I kind of loved it. And again, it's Lena Headey. What what else? What else is there to say? She's great. She's fantastic.
She wasn't God, but she had seen God or something, and she was playing pinball or something, and there was a line about that.
The Tastemaker. I've got the IMDb up. The Tastemaker was the name of her character. I didn't remember a lot of the character names actually in this, apart from like Francis and Violetta.
Oh, I don't even know if I would have got Francis right now, but there was Lightman. I remember that one.
Yes, played by Carl Weathers. Lightman was really good. I thought he was one of the best. Again, the veteran actors Lena Headey and Carl Weathers did I felt delivered some of the better performances in the game. Funnily enough.
Imagine that. There was also his like pet demon-looking guy that we encounter at the beginning, but there's no way I'm remembering that name. But he had a cool design.
Was it Zom?
Oh, that's right. That is what he was called.
I don't remember all these. I'm cheating. I've got IMDb up in front of me on my other monitor.
Oh, true. The last aspect I have for visuals is the aspect of the backgrounds lighting up as a visual spectacle and adds to the grandness in the moment of performing art gameplay. True, we've already talked about that a bunch. Did you have anything else particularly to say about the old visuals?
Do I have anything else in my own visual section? No, I don't.
I think we about covered it.
Yeah. Again, like I thought the designs of all even though I wasn't a big fan of the writing or the dialogue, I thought the designs of all the characters was really good. There was a moment where I was tempted to keep Francis's default design because I do actually think it's really good, but then I realized I could just make I sort of got all the way to the end and I was sort of seeing bits of it. But I think if I'd got to the end and I hadn't been able to fully sort of make my avatar, I'd have probably just put it back to making him default Francis for most of it, because I think Francis's design is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. The payoff to that rather isn't even in this game, so we'll talk about that in a second. Now I got a bunch of story things, then we got miscellaneous stuff. So the story, I have the finding yourself teenage coming of age thing is not really something I think I've ever been into or related to in a profound way. It's sort of the first note. Though there are a lot of stories about this, which is interesting to me. Any thoughts on that? Is this,
I mean, it didn't. I mean, that part
relatable tale.
It definitely wasn't relatable to me at all. To the point that I think I was like going almost like the worst kind of critic on the internet about media, where I was just
True.
sort of analyze, like I was like for me, I found Francis to be very inconsistent. Doesn't feel like the right word, but like there were moments where I was just kind of getting
Frustrating,
frustrating because I was just watching it and it's like he was flitting so much, and not in like a kind of what felt like a natural or believable way back and forth between being totally cool and nonchalant about this ridiculous situation he was in, which is obviously all meant to be metaphorical, So, the whole thing's meant to be much more metaphorical than that, I think. But I was sort of just being like, why is he so cool about this and so keen to be involved, but also goes on and on about needing to be back in time for the concert? Like he was jumping between the lanes and not in a way that felt natural to me. Like obviously, like characters can, change in their mindset, and that's what I could see them moving towards. But there were times where he was just totally cool to go along with everything. And then, like a scene later, he'd be like, "Oh, I've got to get back for this concert. This concert." And it's just like I don't know. It just didn't do it for me.
We got to remind you about the concert. It's the finale of the game. God damn it! But yeah, it's true. I don't even know if I thought he was like switching up too much. I think it was just like the base, like. I'm just annoyed. Like, who cares? Just be yourself or something. Like, this is not like a. I feel like for me, if I was like younger, I would just obviously do the opposite of what everybody wanted because that's like my personality.
Yeah.
Whereas he's like the very opposite, and he wants to like please, and he's trepidatious and stuff like that.
I think the idea of him living up to like a famous family member, I think that's a really interesting concept. I just didn't think they did as much with it because obviously everyone he's interacting with has originally has no idea who he is, and then obviously it turns out his cousin is also famous in the space world as well.
True. That was a weird tie-in at the end where he was like the guy before Lightman or whatever, and it's like, okay.
I thought
like there's a lady you encounter at the beginning who like she clearly just sees the uncle in him or whatever, and that's why she likes him, and he like they don't see him for who he is and stuff like that. Even then, what an interesting like trope to be so popular, like your famous uncle or something, or your famous father that you have to live up to. How many of these writers actually have famous fathers or something? Why is this such like a prolific story trope that I feel like I've seen a million times? It feels artificial almost.
Yeah, it's not something not something I can say. I don't think I know anyone who's in that. No. I think the closest I have is I have a friend who once when he was in the closest I have to that is I have a friend who once when he was in high school, he dated someone who went on to become like the lead singer of like quite a famous band. They did music for one of Hideo Kojima's games actually, but it's like the most trepidatious sort of connections. And I just don't know what having famous family would be like in that sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess the most realistic, like that happens with football players a lot, where it's like the great football player has a son, and like they do make it to first grade, but they don't do too well, and then they sort of are in the shadow or something. It's like,
but it's also like it's not even like his. It's not even like his dad or something. It's his uncle. So it's just like, I hope you. Yeah. It's like I hope you've got the same stuff as your uncle, and it's like, well, his dad clearly didn't. So if you're trying to make some genetic argument, then.
There is a funny line about genes or something where Lightman's like, genes are not genetic, bro, or something. It was like a contradictory thing, but it's like true. Where it's like he's not his uncle or whatever. That was
on Lightman, actually, I do have a note about him where I think I liked what they were trying to do with Lightman's story, but it was just so quick that it just didn't have any time to sort of percolate.
And it was resolved very quickly.
Yeah. Lightman's last show, it kind of went from Lightman's brought you on to be a support act, and then 5 minutes later you've replaced him, and then 5 minutes after that he's gone on like this sort of suicidal final redemption gig that's going to get him killed because the Glamorgon kills anyone who doesn't jam perfectly with them, and it's like this. It just happened so quickly. It's like, this is cool. This is a cool concept you've got here of like this sort of old. This young musician who's trying to live up to like a name, and this old musician who's trying to sort of have one last go at it. But it's so compressed that it just doesn't really deliver in any way. I feel like I'm being a lot harsher on this game than I should. Like, I gave it a good score, but a lot of that is the presentation and the aesthetics of it. Like the actual narrative, I think, is its weakest element.
Yeah, I agree with this stuff too, because it's I don't know. Again, the solution is probably to make the game longer, but I don't know if this game had been too much longer. I don't know if I would have.
Yeah, I was actually, but before things started picking up at the halfway point, one of the reasons this recording was meant to happen a week ago is because I was flagging playing this 5-hour game. which shouldn't be
true.
happening. You know, when I was younger, I could play a 5 hour. When Last of Us came out, I played that I finished that in one sitting. I did one 13-hour sitting of the original Last of Us, no problem. This I had to Artful Escape. I had to play in 3 sittings, and it's 5 hours long. Like,
yeah, it's funny. It's interesting. My gameplay thingy is I usually only play games for like an hour. I really can't do longer than that. I usually get bored or I get annoyed or like not annoyed, but I'm like, oh man, I should be doing something else right now. But the only exceptions are, I think the first time I played Uncharted 4, I think I played it for like 8 hours straight. Like the beginning of that game is like so addicting. And yeah, with The Last of Us Part 2, I think I finished it in like 3 sittings.
Yeah,
Last of Us 25 hours.
Yeah, Last of Us Part 2, I did so much damage to myself because that came out and I finished it the weekend it came out, and Jesus Christ, it was like it was what we in Scotland would call a sesh. It was unbelievable. Just
I think I remember you finishing it before me, actually. Because we were, I think we were talking by that point, by the middle of 2020. This is
God, have we been friends that long? Good Lord.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Elite was like 2022 or something, and that feels way more recent. And Bacon's even before that. Bacon's 2019 or something. It's what a decade it has been in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
But it's true.
It's wild.
Because but anyway. Reminiscing, we can get to that to the next game. My goodness. My second note of the story stuff was the mystery element was interesting at the beginning. True, we already talked about that. There's a bit of Lightman breaking off or something, but he was a good guy in the end, I think. Ride off in a space car at the end. True. And we've kind of already talked about that.
Yeah.
I guess another one thing to say is that I think they were trying to tease a romance between Violetta and the main guy, but also not, maybe?
I wasn't sure about that. I honestly, I'm not. Yeah, it's
like they're in the car. It's like, oh, that's like a couple pose. After they've won and stuff like that. I don't know.
It's not always the worst thing. Like I think there are. You know, I see.
I would have liked it. I'm a romance simp, but it didn't really go anywhere too.
But what I mean is, I've seen discussions about like how obviously too much media goes down the natural romance. Now, yeah, as you said, you're a romance simp. But I'm a bit of it myself as well. Like I remember one of the things that I saw a lot of people praising. It's just a completely random film, Pacific Rim for. Have you seen Pacific Rim? Very good movie.
No, but I know it's like robots and stuff.
Robots, but there is like a constant romantic undertone between the two leads, and I guess spoiler alert. At the very end, it looks like they might go in for the kiss, but they don't. They just hug it out. And it's like, and a lot of people were very happy about that it doesn't have to be guy gets girls kind of story. It's a bit more platonic than that. A bit more, a bit more Isayama.
True. Asexual, if you will.
Yes.
Crazy. But yeah, I don't know. It felt like we were just like not too interested in this game, I guess. But true. That was the last story note. I have some miscellaneous notes left. If you don't have anything else about story.
No, I sort of covered it. I covered Lightman, Francis being very nonchalant. Again, just like the story I said is if like the fact that there isn't a lot of gameplay. In my original note, because I did this. I must have written this note quite early. I said dialogue writing is not great, and it's definitely not great when there also isn't any gameplay. And it's like
there's a lot of. There's talking sections on like the ship and stuff. It's sometimes it can be boring or it can be rough. It's something. But true and true. I already said Lena Headey has a good voice. That was my first miscellaneous note. My second one, oh my god, this one might be controversial, but I say guitar is lame. Even as a 5-year-old, I thought air guitaring was the lamest thing I'd ever seen. I do remember this. This is like a distinct early memory of me like judging people. Is like one of my best friends as a kid would always air guitar, and I'd be like, and he had like his rock band set up, and I always thought both of these things were so lame. And it's funny because this game is kind of you air guitaring for the whole game. Though I didn't hate it as much, but it's just funny.
I mean, I never did much air guitaring because I wasn't that big into music as a kid. Like, I didn't really find music at all until high school, and I didn't really develop any real taste in music until probably like university. So yeah, I was never into the air guitaring. I did jam a bit. Like some of my friends had Guitar Hero, so we jammed on that, and that was fun. But
see, I also think I was a little too young for Guitar Hero. So I missed like that.
Possibly, I was in high school when Guitar Hero came out. So you would have been.
Yeah.
early
Like,
grade school.
That friend I remember hanging out with, I feel like we were like 7, because I remember we played Crash Nitro Kart together, and that was sick. But he kept saying, "Let's play Guitar Hero," and I said, "That's not sick. That's lame. Let's go back to playing Crash Nitro Kart."
Crash Nitro Kart was sick though. It was good.
Yeah, but he was a lot better at it than me, and it was annoying. And he had an Xbox, whereas I had a PS2, and so of course I didn't know how to use this shitty controller, even though it's exactly the same, and that was my excuse. And also, this is weird. I'm getting a bunch of memories from this sleepover I had with Casey. Shout out Casey if he ever listens to this. When I think he moved to like Melbourne again or something when we were young. He worked on this game or something crazy. He was like a genius or something. He had to move schools because he was so smart or something. But we played Crash Nitro Kart at his dining room table because they had a TV. Like they also had a big house. They were rich or something. And they had like a TV stand at their dining room table. Isn't that weird? That's weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like the couch in the living room was nearby. It was like in a different place.
Yeah, that is a bit.
Yeah, we were playing Crash Nitro Kart at the dinner table. It wasn't dinner time, but that's a little wacky.
That is wacky.
But true. That was my note. Air guitaring is lame. True. I'm glad we agree.
So I have a miscellaneous note that you might have something similar because it was when we discussed the fact that the game was made in Australia. There was a little moment in the credits that popped up to me that I thought was pretty cool. Did you sit and watch the credits?
I do leave them on, but usually I get up and I go to my computer and I get backlogged up because I can rate it right after. So I'm listening to it and I'll look back every like 5 seconds.
So the credits.
I missed whatever this was.
So the credits of this and spoiler, Mixtape, and also another Australian game I've played, another Australian game, Untitled Goose Game, all acknowledge that they were made in the cities they were made on. Yeah, they do land acknowledgement. They acknowledge the land of the original indigenous people that it was stolen from, which is, I think, this is pretty cool that they do that.
We do that all the time, like at every sort of public gathering. I was school captain when I was little, Mr. Ross, so I'm very impressive. But yes, my part of the parade we would always do is I would do the land acknowledgement. So we've been doing that for a long time. That's not that new. Pretty impressed, huh?
Yeah, it's not something that I'm familiar with that much. I've only seen it in I've now seen it in 3 video games, all from Australia. So yeah. Yeah, Beethoven and
Canadian studios might do this or something. Possibly. They're kind of similar, I think.
Yeah, so in the acknowledgement after their credits, Beethoven and Dinosaur would like to acknowledge I'm going to butcher this, Wurundjeri people?
The traditional custodians of this land and will pay our respects to the elders, both past, present. That was the thing I had to remember. Oh my god, I still remember it.
Okay,
but it would be something like that.
This one says the Wurundjeri people as the traditional owners of the land on which the Artful Escape was created.
I know, yeah. Melbourne is a very progressive city too, so that probably helps. That would inform.
I'd be interested to see about the Canada thing, because I think Canada has a bit more. At least some parts of Canada have a bit more of a tenuous relationship, and
I think it would depend on the more liberal parts and the more conservative parts. Because again, the state I live in is pretty conservative usually, so I wonder if they made a game, if they would. I'm pretty sure it might be the law to do that. That seems like something that would probably be a law in Australia, especially if you're like making a global product or something. Though I don't know. I don't know nothing.
House, who did Untitled Goose Game, are also based in Melbourne. Because of course they are.
I think Melbourne. Like, how they all the American game developers live in California or San Francisco, or at least I think Melbourne. If we had a place like that, it would be Melbourne. It is probably the most liberal, though that means a different thing in Australia. So probably the most progressive, I guess, part of the country, I would say. I know because if you follow people on Twitter that live in Melbourne, usually they'll say Melbourne and they'll have like a different name for Melbourne, which would be the indigenous name, I think.
Okay.
So, as far as I know, Queenslanders don't do that. They would say probably mean things about it instead. But yes, so I live in a conservative part, in fact. But true, I didn't notice that, but I believe it. So yes. And that was not the Australian thing I thought you were going to bring up. Because I thought you were going to say something about Mixtape, but we can wait and see if maybe
No, that was just a thing I noticed, because like one thing I do, now this is possibly some more of my game dev side of it, is I always sit through and watch the credits of games. I try and do it for films as well, but when I'm in the cinema.
I do it for everything.
But
Except when I tab over to try and put it on my ranking websites, which I do for movies too.
cinema, it really it depends if it's like super late or not. But I generally try and stay through
and
cinema.
You gotta pee. My goodness.
There is that
Sometimes
as well.
You gotta pee.
It really depends. But games, I generally put the credits on, and I try and sit through and watch them. It's been to my detriment before. I think the longest ever was the Assassin's Creed 3 credits, which were 25 minutes long. I sat through the whole of that, and I was just like, good lord. But I try and do it. And it makes me sad when I see Let's Players, and the moment the credits start to roll, they're like, all right, we're done. I'm like, no, you're not.
That's why you gotta do what The Last of Us Part 2 did and have like thematically relevant covers of songs happen at the end. So you gotta sit there and you get mad at the streamers if they don't listen to them because it's still part of it or something.
Well, I had that with when I watched playthroughs of Hellblade. Really great game, by the way. Highly recommend.
I haven't played it, but I know what it is.
Very, very good. The final credits for that are beautiful. And seeing all the Let's Players cut the stream the moment the credits started to roll, I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you? I mean, maybe they're worried about...
We gotta make some money, goddammit.
Maybe they're worried about Content ID, but yeah, I don't know.
Hey, the Mixtape playthrough I watched today had all the songs, so my goodness. But yes, credits, I do watch the credits. Even for anime episodes, when I'm supposed to be binging them because I got a Naruto deadline with the lead RE, I watch the credits. But anyway, sometimes maybe I shouldn't. Also, those are in Japanese, so you can't even pretend you're like doing it to notice the people or something. So I don't know why I do it.
Don't just watch credits because you think there's a post-credit scene. Watch them to appreciate the people who are in them. This is me being a bleeding heart game developer. People worked hard on that shit. Watch and acknowledge.
Post-credit scenes. What an interesting thing for somebody to do. I wonder what the first move with a post-credit scene was or whatever. I'm sure that's a known factor or something, but obviously most people didn't see it the first time somebody did. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know why we needed to go down that rabbit hole. Anyway, my other miscellaneous notes. There's a gag on the ship with a guy selling your merch without permission or something. True, I remember this. Did you encounter this guy? There's a guy, if you go down to the bottom level of the lung ship, and you go all the way to the side, there's always a guy that's like selling your merch, but like is like stealing, clearly.
Oh, yes.
And so like he shuts down whenever you get close, and I thought that was funny a few times.
Like how you wanted to steal the background for this recording.
True. I identified with that character, unlike Francis. I love to steal. But true, that was a funny guy. Because also if you went all the way down the hallway and you looked in the back, there was always something happening. Like there was clothes everywhere at some point, and I don't know, there was different things. So there's some little details here. I'm pretty sure you can notice if you journey around at certain points. But then my last one is transition loading screen is really cool. Disorientating noise and cuts, Ava-like or something. True. Like every time you'd go back to the lung, it would be like close up of his face, fire.
Yeah, that was
pretty cool. And it would have like this distorting thing. I thought that was really cool. But that is my last note overall. Did you have any you didn't get to yet? The miscellaneous?
No. My last one was about the stolen land thing. I love that you managed to find a way to fit Ava in here somewhere. True.
It's kind of more Serial Experiments Lane-like, but you know, I wrote Ava down, so my goodness. But true, that's Artful Escape. I think we both basically said 7, right?
Yeah, 7. Not very well written.
It's neat that I played it, but like I don't really want to play it again, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad I did. Like I think it's an experience. Like I haven't played a lot of what you would call walking simulators. The first one I ever remember playing was Dear Esther, and I thought that was terrible. I thought it was really bad.
I know that one. That one's very like limited on content, right? But that's like supposed to be the point.
It looks pretty pretty. I'll admit that I really like the environment design of it, but I thought the gameplay I could have been fine with, but I thought the attempt at the narrative in it I thought was just wank. So yeah,
it's like letters, right, or something.
Yeah, I really didn't like it. But then and that put me off for a while. But then I played Gone Home, and that was really good. I really liked Gone Home.
Yeah, I played Gone Home. But I like Firewatch better than Gone Home, which I know is controversial.
Yeah.
But,
I haven't played a lot of walking sims, to be honest, so...
Yeah, I think besides those might be the only 2 I've played, but that doesn't... Oh, I don't know. Do you consider Journey a walking sim? Probably not, right?
No, I wouldn't consider Journey a walking sim. But if it is, it's the best walking sim I've ever played.
Yeah. But yeah, so I remember because I had the literal like Gone Home experience of I didn't know what it was, so I was expecting the scare because I think I played.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be like a horror thing as well. And then
because I think obviously that's like the intention, but I think a lot of people were spoiled because it like got high reviews or whatever. Because I think IGN gave it a 10, and that was very controversial. Is that going to come up in about 5 minutes? We'll have to see. But yeah, so I think a lot of people like went in suspicious of what it was, and then it was woke. Can you believe that Gone Home was woke?
Oh my god, I cannot believe the first of the woke.
Yeah, it was like woke 1.0. I think it was 2014. Which
It
is
did.
literally
I think
Gamergate
it did
year,
come
so it's
out during
fucking
the it
crazy.
did come out during the Gamergate
Yeah.
era. I think so.
Well, my goodness. And all of our lives were ruined. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable.
I had to write. That was.
I had to write an essay. I had to write an essay about Gamergate for one of my university modules, and it was happening as I was sort of writing the. It was written in the form of like.
God, there was an old joke there. You beat me to it. I was gonna say, wasn't that after your time or something?
No.
You just self-admitted that you were in university in 2014 when I started high school.
Yes.
Grade 8, that was.
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, I was doing a module on games industry awareness. We covered like all the big topics in the games industry, like crunch and
microtransactions,
all the stuff that you'd expect to see. It was kind of funny that we covered that in our final year.
Can you believe them?
And
They're
women.
showing up in droves.
Yeah.
These women.
But then, yeah, we had a choice of 3 different topics we could write about in the form of like discussion presentation, as if like we were pitching something to a company. One of them was Gamergate. One of them was like the Geneva Convention and how every game ever violates it. And what would be involved if you wanted to make a game that didn't a war game that didn't violate the Geneva Convention, and how that would even and there was a third topic that I can't remember, but it was all in the form of like pitching the report was like it was a proper academic report, but it was in the form of like pitching it as recommendations to a games company that wants to protect its employees from the Gamergate losers, or wants to do this a war game that is like even semi-sensitive towards the Geneva Convention. But it was so funny watching a bunch of university nerds go and having to read the Geneva Conventions.
Sure, that's like when you're not supposed to do bad things or something. I know what it is.
Yeah, it's basically
it
sets up what the rules of warfare is. So stuff like treatment of prisoners, treatment of civilians, what you can and can't do, like.
The bad stuff is not okay, and that's what that should say. Probably in a lot more detail than that, I imagine.
Yes.
Probably a bit of a read for those students there.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like
books in English, I didn't read them. I looked them up online and got a summary because I went to school when the internet was around.
So did we. I'm not that old.
I don't know. I'm suspicious.
Half of
the internet came out in like 2000.
Half of my sources were like gaming journalism websites that probably don't exist anymore.
True. Well, a bunch of them are dying, right? So that's almost certainly true now. Anyway, The Artful Escape. What a video game! Well, I guess not really that much of a video. The 7 out of 10 video game. My goodness.
Yes.
Mr. R, can you believe this? IGN gave this terrible game Mixtape a 10 out of 10.
Unbelievable. Just the worst. What a bunch of wokies who don't want to play video games. They want to just watch.
It's not even a real game.
Not at all.
So what were your actual overall thoughts on... I nearly used a descriptor there. On Mixtape.
So, I actually did really like it. I'm umming and erring on the final score. I've provisionally given it an 8. But I think it could be a 9. Like, I think... I'm trying to decide how I feel about the level of nostalgia it's calling back to. Whether I feel that it's like charming or a bit too sort of nostalgia baity in that sense. It's hard to say.
Interesting. We will. I'm sure I have dot points on that, so we can explore that in time. I gave Mixtape a 9 out of 10. I thought it was really great.
So yeah, we're
considered it. Yeah, we're always the same, We're always on.
Although
on
I think we alternated our scores slightly for Florence and.
Yeah, I liked Anne Roger better, and I think you like Florence better.
Yeah.
But they were pretty close anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this game was great. I think it's like a high 9. I really think it's great.
I'm more and more
written out thing.
More and more I look back on my notes, I am thinking, I think. Like, I definitely was sort of biased. I was like, oh, okay, there is obviously a lot of criticism, and I was like, and it's more a case of, do I agree with some of the other criticism? And I don't know if I necessarily do. So yeah,
Okay. I I got notes on all the things that I think the general criticisms are, so I think we'll be able to
awesome.
explore
Yeah,
this
because I only
in
have sort of
depth.
vague memories of them or vague sort of understandings of them.
Yes. Um. Honestly, though, I haven't watched too many videos about this. Really, it's just sort of like the headlines and the annoying things I saw immediately. But true, I'll read out my little written out thing I have here. Mixtape is a great game. It succeeds in all the ways the Artful Escape fell short for me. The characters in the storyline stand out, particularly the childish catharsis of the Cassandra story. I don't find any of the characters annoying at all, and every little diversion or memory was fun and exciting. This is epitomized by the rock throwing scene and how I didn't want to leave, and I stayed there for a long time because I just wanted to hang out with these great characters. So that was my little overall thing. I had an example in there, if you can believe it. 2 examples, I think.
Yeah.
Generally, let's talk about the criticism. We've already kind of talked about it. I think the 3 main criticisms, the first one is crazy, which is the woke thing, because this game is like not really, it has
I hadn't even seen
anything.
The woke side of it. I thought came from the fact that it doesn't have much
It's a girl,
quote unquote gameplay. I don't even I didn't like whenever I saw the argument of the woke side, I think it was more again the framing of like it came into the the other argument that I'm sure you've got there is that the game plays itself, and that's apparently woke because it's been made so accessible, and that's
for
woke.
Weaklings, we play real games like Dark Souls over here.
It's like it's a different, like it doesn't, like the whole girl character thing. I didn't see as much in the culture where I just couldn't be bothered.
It's an ugly girl thing, which is like an extension of the Bella Ramsey stuff, and this has even happened with Millie Alcock a lot with Supergirl, which is interesting.
And now with Faye in the next God of War.
Oh yes, of course, and it's all like, look at Tifa and her tits, she's great, and like Sydney Sweeney, that's a real lady.
Stellar Blade 2 is gonna save all the Gooners from the wokes.
It's fine. I don't know if you pay attention, but they've actually split on that, where I think Asmongold said it was pedophile bait, and then like all the other guys that are always defending like lolly stuff around him got really mad at him. So that was a funny little Civil War thing I was operating.
It is always fun when they tear themselves apart. If anyone doesn't know about the Stellar Blade stuff, by the way, there is not to divert you away from this channel, but there is a fantastic video by Sean. YouTuber Sean, the Talkie Skullman.
I think I saw the
called Stellar Blade: The Fake Outrage. He's also done previous ones on Doom Eternal and Cuphead, and he also just does a bunch of really cool sort of left-wing political stuff. Really good. He's got quite a dry delivery type, but it works really well. Really good background noise. His Stellar Blade video, he is British. His Stellar Blade video is fantastic because it is such a funny takedown, mostly of Grums, because Grums is usually the closest the closest thing to a thought leader in this movement, because he carries the credentials of being a game developer apparently.
That's the thing. Also, just by the way, I didn't even think the Stellar Blade girl was that pedo bait. Like, I watched that presentation and saw that trailer and was like, oh, it's just like Stellar Blade again. But I don't know.
I didn't watch it. I don't care about Stellar Blade at all.
Yeah. Well, it was just in. I don't even remember which one it was in. I think it was just in the Sony one. So that was the only exposure I had to it. So, or maybe it was in the Summer Games Festival. I don't remember. I watched all of them in like 3 days. And frankly, none of them were that exciting. So my goodness. I just wanted to see one game and a bald lady. That's another thing. That bald lady in Intergalactic. That's very ugly. Oh my goodness. Terrible, terrible. But true, this is a general thing. So the ugly thing, then obviously the bigger one is it's not a real game. Yeah. Because I don't know why. And I don't know why this game particularly got this. When there's been so many other walking simulators and stuff like that. I guess it must just be because it got a 10. And it's like, oh my god.
I think it's because, it's a walking sim that's gotten a lot of attention. But the thing is as well, I bet that a bunch of these people who are complaining about this 100% play visual novel anime porn games, which also have no gameplay.
Just text. No, they can't read. I don't think so. Well, I guess some of those games have voice acting now, I believe. but true. And also, they just probably don't even play. They've definitely not played the game. So
No, absolutely
anyway,
not. I know there was
it's
one video
much
of a
ado.
guy who, to demonstrate that the game has no gameplay, I think he just put the prologue on where you're skating downhill and it just avoided everything. And to that, I do have a point to say from a game development point of that. Most on-rails games will do that. What happens is the way you set...
Pokemon Snap, if you just stay there, you get to the end of the level.
I'm pretty sure even the Uncharted games, there's an element of that where you have less control than you think you do. Like, there's obviously interactions you need to do, but the way generally a lot of these sort of on-rails sections work is the developers will set up what's called a spline that goes down the sort of the ideal route, and there will be some code in there that will generally guide the player character along the spline. They can break away from that, but then if you let go of the controls, it will try and guide them back onto the spline because you need to move things forward. You know, that's just how these things are set up. It's been a thing in game development for years. It's not some new woke agenda. I have done a little on rails thing for Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It's a very short thing where you're sliding down a hill, and yes, we set up splines going down that, and it's like if you don't press anything, the character will go down this specific route that we've set up, but we allow you to break away from that to get the optional stuff on there, and it's no different. So yeah,
it's also like the conceit of the game. Like it's not like this game is like selling itself as like this sick skateboarding experience.
Yeah, it's not a fucking Tony
you can
Hawk.
jump over the car.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like obviously a narrative. Like it's in its lane and it knows what it is.
The thing is, I also tried. I deliberately went out of my way to see what happens if you go into a car, and it does respond to that. It doesn't like just sort of guide you away automatically.
Yeah, there is a fail state. Like,
yeah,
you do like go back.
Yeah, it rewinds you.
That was another thing,
which is really cool as well. Like.
Because it's going backwards on the mixtape, you get it? It does the little rewind thing. It's like thematic and relevant and stuff.
I'd heard a lot of these arguments, and they are all complete nonsense. Like the woke thing. Also, accessibility isn't woke; it's just allowing more people to play the game, which is a good thing because we want more people to play.
You gotta earn your PlayStation trophies. God damn it!
Oh,
I'm freaking mad right now. I can't believe it. You know.
But yeah, it is like I'd heard about it and I hadn't really thought of it, and then I sat down to play it, and then I was like, this is what they're mad about. This is such a non-issue, and I think it is just because there's been a lot of saltiness as well because games they've wanted to win Game of the Year have been getting denied Game of the Year for other stuff at like the Game Awards and so on.
Yeah. Can you believe that Last of Us Part 2 got it that one year? That was a terrible game.
Like, I think I still don't think they've recovered when Astrobot beat Black Myth Wukong for Game of the Year.
True.
I think that has done like irreparable damage to the closest thing these people have to brains.
It's also just an awards show and stuff like that. It will be funny to see if they do back down. Like, I don't know. Maybe it would be outclassed. It could feasibly be outclassed, I think, for Game of the Year. Probably not for me. This probably will be just because I don't play many games. But I don't know. It'll be interesting how it places. It'll definitely get some small categories, I imagine.
Yeah, it's currently. I realize I've only played 3 games that were released this year. Like of the games that released this year, I've only played 3 of them, and it is currently my top spot. But I do want to try and get through a few more 2026 games before the end of the year.
I think it's my first one, but I'm also playing Pragmata right now, which came out this year too. My goodness.
I probably should pick up Pragmata.
So I'm a real gamer.
The little girl character creeped me the fuck out though, so it's what's put me off.
No, she's cute. You just got to see it, right? You just got to. She's like a robot. She's a little creepier, right? But it's fine. Anyway, this isn't a Pragmata review. My goodness.
No, it's not.
True. And the other criticism is that it's cringe. It's cringe. You know, it's cringe.
So some of the dialogue, I will say, some of the dialogue is a little cringe and a little awkward at times, but not the majority. Like less so than I felt.
I'm not conceding any of it. I think it's all cool. It's like I don't know. And usually I'm very sensitive to cringiness, but for me it was all fine.
It's definitely not as cringe as I think a lot of what you would call high school dialogue is, especially in media these days. Like I think it's a big part of it as well. As I didn't grow up in American or I guess Australian, set in America or Australian high school, so I don't know. Like British high schools are very different.
I would say British high school is probably more similar to Australian high school. This is the Australian thing I thought you were going to bring up, which is that it's fascinating to me that this feels like a deeply American suburban story that is created by people that have probably never spent like more than a few weeks in America.
I hadn't actually even thought of that, but that is actually really, really
yes.
good. That's a really interesting point that I hadn't considered. That it's it kind of actually, you know what? That actually has just completely reframed my entire thought of the nostalgia, because it's a yearning for nostalgia, a nostalgia that the people who made this probably never had.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think it's a nostalgia for movies of the period that are like that, because there's a Ferris Bueller thing. I've never seen Ferris Bueller, but a million things have copied it, and I've seen people say it in YouTube videos. A joke. Scene when you're running to save Cassandra, you go through all the yards and stuff like that, and it's like the shot from that movie. So, and I think that movie is like a high school coming of age. Yeah.
A joke I actually had, which I was considering as like, because when I do my letterbox, I usually just do like a joke, a single line joke for the film review, because it doesn't matter. Games, I go a bit more into it, but I was considering it for this one, that this is the video game sequel to Superbad, because it feels like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Superbad, but the whole plot,
but I'm aware.
The whole plot of that is it's like the last day of school, or the last week of school, and it's these three friends who are conspiring to try and get booze for a cool party they've been invited to. Okay. Their whole thing is their whole thing is the hope that they're going to lose their virginity at this party, but there is also there is also the thing where the guys are going off to different colleges, and one of the group, two of the group members are going to be sticking together. Like, one of the guys in the group is a bit like Jenny fucking Goodspeed, but also like it kind of like an amalgamation of Jenny fucking Goodspeed and Cassandra, I guess. Like there are when I was playing it, like, Superbad is completely crass. It's like a Seth Rogen style, stoner comedy more than anything, but like that kind of thing. But there was enough there that I was kind of like, this is such a weird. There are like little connections I'm getting between these two, which is kind of funny.
I think it was almost certainly intentional. I think it is supposed to be like it's grabbing from these types of movies. Like, even the scene. This is from the same sequence, but when you're running and like everything's musical. But at some point, there's always a point like 3/4 of the way through the musical sequence where like the characters start getting like surreal or something. So you're running and then you get on like the top of the buses and like the characters in the background are like clapping with the song or something. Yeah. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's like a Grease reference, right? Now, I only half watched Grease one time.
I haven't.
Like, this feels familiar to that. It's like everybody's like in a musical now and they're like all coordinating and stuff.
I don't know if I've seen Grease all the way through, but I think like it's definitely it is pulling from the 90s. It's interesting you say that, because one of the criticisms I think I saw is that the game is just nothing but 90s nostalgia bait from people who like,
which is not even true.
And arguments that
a lot of the songs are from the 80s.
Yeah, and the argument as well is that it's nostalgia bait from people who weren't teenagers in the 90s, which is interesting because they would have been teenagers in the 90s because they're only a few years older than I am. So I was a child in the 90s. So if they're like 5 years older than me, they would have been early teenage. They would have been like probably 12 or Johnny Galvatron would have been like 13 in 1999.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit, but I think like one of the arguments there's a point that I'll bring up as well, which is one of the things that was centering these people are actually just performatively creating 90s nostalgia.
It's the tape thing, right?
It's the tape thing, yeah.
Which I don't know anything about, but you had rewind the tape and it was the wrong direction.
So there's a couple of things with that. First of all, like the way they show the tape, there's like, I think the actual bit where the magnetic strip where you'd see it just isn't there. Like, it doesn't look like it's there. And also, you didn't use the pencil to rewind tapes like that. You would put them in the machine and rewind them. You use the pencil and the tape if the tape itself had come loose from the cassette to like fix it, basically. Like, basically, if the tape got like caught on something,
trust your word on it.
If a tape got caught, oh god, I'm showing my age. If a tape got caught on something in a tape player, you would take it out, and basically the tape would have come out of the cassette. It'd be a fucking mess, and that's when you would use the pencil to screw the cassette wheel, and it would bring the tape back to like a tightened tautness. If you just wanted to rewind it, the better way to do it was to just stick it in the machine and hit rewind. So. And it is weird because they could have had the exact same minigame based on that. Like, they could have just gone, oh man, the tape's messed up, and then you fix it, but they didn't.
What if this was some crazy cross-cultural thing where in Australia the form factor or whatever was different and you actually had to do that, and they like broke immersion because their Australianisms bled
That would be I think it would still be insane because it would be a painfully slow way to rewind a tape. Like the cassette tapes, there's a lot of magnetic tape on those. There's a lot of tape on those things. Like,
I Have no idea. So true, but also I don't care one iota. So
yeah, it was like that of all
unfortunate.
the things. Yeah, I do have a note here. That's not how cassettes work, but that's like the least original point ever. I think there was one other note I said that I thought was a bit weird, and this was right at the beginning. After that, I kind of stopped caring and realized I was just being nitpicky. She had, yeah, she was Rockford referred to the uncomposed Apocalypse Now soundtrack as a total gem, but she has a pirated copy. Surely it would only be a gem if it was like a rare physical release. If you've got like a pirated copy of something, can that really be a gem? Because anybody can have that shit. But that's like
Well, I
such.
think she just thought that. I think by gem she just meant like it was good,
Yeah.
not that, like it was.
Yeah. Again, it was
a
a
particular
very.
thing.
It was a very, yeah. It's a very sort of dumb minor point that I just was like, I'm gonna bring this up to be an asshole. But
We
again,
get it, Mr. Art. No stealing. I understand. I'll steal when you're not around next time. That's a callback, everybody. You see,
that is a callback.
Now,
Yeah.
oh no, what if they just skip to the mixtape part and watch this part? Then they wouldn't even know. My goodness. But on the nostalgia thing too, I had a point. Oh my god, Adobe, I don't want to update right now. Go away. I had a little thing written out where I said, I don't have a strong association with any of the songs in the game or the time period. I also do not relate to the experience at all, just more generally, which is something we should talk about in a second.
So,
but I get a very strong association for the time and place and the feeling just from the game. Also, this was made by Australians, so yeah, it's interesting because this was a lot of things where it was like you have to be 35 and an old man to like this game or something. Where I feel like I like it more than you, or maybe not. You know, you said a 9 too, maybe. And like I have absolutely no sort of like nostalgia. Like I recognized a few of the songs, but like none of them are on like my rotation or anything. Which is interesting because if one of them was, I feel like it would have elevated the game even more because a lot of the game is about this, about how strong music can like emphasize an emotion or something like that. But true, I don't like. Yeah, this is not part of the reason. I'm not nostalgic, and that's why I like this game.
Yeah. So I didn't actually. I basically knew almost none of the music in it either. Like as I said, I didn't really get much into music. I didn't really have much of a musical sort of upbringing at all. So none of that really. I think the closest thing I had to a Link at all, and it's not even like it's a part of it, but I would say the inner turmoil of it was not really addressed that much, and that's like Rockford leaving her friends to go to some complete other place. Because that's what, when I finished university, not high school, I went to the other side of the country, away from everybody to pursue my career. So I get that, but like the internal conflict of moving everyone, like it does come up, but it's more how it affects her friendship more rather than it affects her. So it didn't really. Yeah, I wasn't really.
She's very bullheaded. She like isn't concerned about it being sad at all. I
didn't necessarily connect to anything specific, but I still had a really good time connecting with the characters, even if I didn't relate to them. Which I think is, if it was just nostalgia slop, I can't believe I just said that. Then I think I wouldn't have done that. But I think it is genuinely very thoughtfully crafted. There's a really good friendship dynamic going on between the three.
Yeah, and this is another thing. I think we almost talked about another callback. Get ready. Was it's extremely platonic, this relationship, because at some point I was convinced that it was going to be a lesbian thing, and that maybe that was why people were complaining that it was woke.
At some point I thought that Rockford and Cassandra, but then they were talking about stuff, and then even at the end there was a little bit, spoilers jumping to the very end of the game, where she's holding hands with Slater, and I was like, there's a bit of a vibe here, but then it's like, no, it is just.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
For me, I
like the strong.
No, I think I was more just like thinking, oh, are they gonna go this route? And then they didn't, and I was actually really happy that they didn't. Again, I think because the platonic friendship, like it's so rare to show men and women just having platonic friendships. There's always this assumption that there has to be a relationship pursuit there.
Especially
and it wasn't
when they're like we see a compilation at some point that they're like childhood friends and they've known each other forever and stuff like that. So yeah, it was. I liked it a lot. The lack of it.
Yeah.
But there was something I wanted to say in there that was relating to something you said, but I've forgotten it. I always forget things. I can't believe this. Oh yeah, I think it was just a planetonic thing, but yeah, it ended up being none of it, so that was cute.
And I'll say as well, the one bit of sort of real romancy stuff in the game, where there's that tongue kissing mini game, that is the worst. That is the worst thing I've ever seen in a video game. I hate it so much, and I tried.
Everybody has this reaction to it, and I didn't have a reaction to it at all.
I hated it so much. I just said, yeah. I've got on my notes, the tongue kissing might be the worst game mechanic ever created. I hate it. It was awful.
This is
But I think that's
definitely
the.
a common thing. I've seen a lot of
But I
people
think
say
that's meant to be
this,
the point because it was meant to be unenjoyable for Ross. Like she didn't like it. She
kinda,
hated
yeah.
it. She had a bad
Well,
time.
she has like bad memories because
Yeah.
it didn't work out. I think so, and it's more like her perspective thing now.
Oh, it's so horrible.
I don't know. People are grossed out by mouths, which I understand. The grosser thing in the game is like the insert shot of like Slater's mustache that one time. Like that was gross. But like the kissing it wasn't gross to me at all. I don't know. But true. I've seen a lot of people agree with you, so I'm not going to take a strong stance.
Like I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it makes. I'm not saying it makes game bad. It was just like I was just like, oh my god, I want this. I wanted that mini game to end as fast as humanly possible. Which is funny because
like that's enough button that pops up.
Yeah, but I think there's an achievement in the game for keeping it going much longer.
Yeah, for a long time.
Because
I got the achievement for jumping over the car with the skateboard.
I didn't get that. I missed a couple of ones where I look back and gone, oh man, I'm bad at video games. Like I didn't get the achievement for not fucking up the when you're running to rescue Cassandra. There's an achievement for not messing up anything in that, and I fucked that up. I did hit something.
Yes, but that was hard because it was like you had to slide perfectly each time, and I was like, sometimes I jumped. So I remember that one and being mad I didn't get that one. There was another one where it was like, get the couch down in like 30 seconds or something. And I was like, that took me like 2 minutes. I was annoyed at that part. So that's another funny one. But true.
And I missed one home run as Cassandra as well.
True. And that is a cool sequence. But yeah, I didn't get the achievement there either. Just before we dive into specifics, the general thing about, oh no, did I just forget what I was going to say in the middle? Oh no, I remember. This experience, I don't know, maybe you relate to this. I don't relate to this at all. And I don't even think necessarily this is like a generational difference, because I think some kids my age probably went through this. It just wasn't really my experience. I don't know. I didn't really hang out with my high school friends that much outside of school. Literally, I think I did it like 3 times in my whole high school experience. I never like tried to get alcohol like when I was underage or something. I think I bought alcohol like once in my life. I go to parties and drink, but I'm just stealing other people's stuff. I'm a big stealer, Mr. R. Did you notice that?
No, so yeah,
a bunch of this stuff I don't relate to. I didn't have a core group of friends. My friend group was entirely male, and I like didn't want to hang out with them ever. So I've never really had a best friend like in the way these guys are close or anything like that. So a lot of this is very alien to me. But still, I thought the game was relatable in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think to mine. So I did have a sort of core group in high school. We were a bunch of weirdos. Like, these guys are a bunch of weirdos as well. They're more sort of, I guess, what you would call burnouts than we were just like the fucking geek group, you know. Hard to believe that the geek would go on to become a game developer. But yeah, I mean, I lived out in the middle of fucking nowhere. So for a lot of high school, it was difficult to get through. In my final year, we did do a bit more. Of one of our friends was able to get a hold of drink quite easily, so we would go around to theirs, and you know, maybe on like a Friday night or something, and we would get drunk at theirs in like final year of high school, maybe. But even then, I think a lot more of it possibly happened because I took a year out after high school. I think a lot more happened in that than
a gap year.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even a gap year. I was just working. But when I wasn't working, I was usually hanging out with some of my friends and drinking. But not a huge... I say that. It makes it sound like that happened a lot. It didn't really, because usually I was working on like the weekends, which was when they were able to drink. So, yeah, I definitely didn't have this kind of experience. I think there were definitely people in my high school who did. People who all lived in that same town and would hang out with each other. It's a very suburban town story. And I went to school in a suburban high school, but I just lived right out in the countryside, so I took like a 45-minute bus in every morning.
That's not good. I lived in the suburb, but I didn't live in the suburbs that like my school was in. It was like a 15-20 minute drive maybe. But I live in a poorer part of the place. I guess I still live there, so let's be vague. But yeah, and like I don't think I had any alcohol until after I finished high school. But I think we were still underage then because I graduated when I just turned 17.
Scottish kids start drinking early. I think I had my. I mean, I drank.
Australians definitely do too. It's just I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I consider myself a late starter with drinking because I didn't really start drinking until I was 16.
Yeah.
And that's like a late starter. That can be a late start in Scotland, depending on where you grew up. But again, I wasn't really in a position where I had easy access. Once I'd sort of turned 16, 17, and I was more sort of trusted to just go stay over at my pals for a weekend, that's when it became more of a thing.
Yeah. See, I hated going to people's places and like sleeping over past the age of like 12. I was just like, can I please be home and I don't know, watching YouTube videos or doing something lame.
That's me now. That is very much me, sort of post post sort of uni, where it's just like I let my space.
Not a lot has changed for me, I guess. I was always that way. Oh, there was one other aspect. Yeah, I never went to high school parties or anything like that. So yeah, it's a very different. And I never went out. Like I would never like leave my room basically. So like I remember one time, this probably was like grade 10. Like Pokemon Go was popular, right? So like we went like kids lived next to me, and we like went walking around the neighborhood. And at like 16, it was like the first time I'd like walked up my street properly, which is kind of crazy because I would just get driven to school and come home every day. And like the places I had explored were like far away and stuff like that. So I was very inside. I didn't. So none of this was very relatable, but true. It was still good anyway. Was the point?
Still,
of this,
still very much like even though it wasn't a nostalgia I necessarily yearned for, I did really like it. It was good. It was a good, like there are bits of it where I look at it, and maybe this is like old mammy where I look at it and go like, obviously, just so we're clear. ACAB, but Cassandra's dad isn't necessarily wrong in some of his assessments of Cassandra and her friends.
True, he's just being like a dad kind of.
Yeah, he is a dick about it, and obviously he's a cop, which is a problem. But like when he's worried about Cassandra just going off and fucking off, I'm looking at it like, yeah, she's 100% going to spend her entire university time dicking around.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because there's also the race element with her dad, where it's like clearly he's Mexican and she's a part Mexican. I'm not sure about the mum; she sounded pretty southern. But like he has a line about how like he's tried so hard to like fit in and stuff like that. So it's interesting that was the only sort of race stuff that came into it and stuff.
I hadn't even really considered that, but yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, and then this is part 1, and part 2 is gonna really knock your socks off, but I've forgotten part 2 entirely. Well, that was an interesting note, huh? Oh my god, what were we even talking about? Characters, something? Cassandra's father? Yeah, true.
Yeah. Nostalgia in general. Yeah, like
I remember. Because they do have the thing where it's like I think when they first get to Stacy's house, which is Rockford, at the beginning, her mum's like says something completely nice, and she says like, "Shut up, ma." Oh no, it's her dad, and she's like, "Shut up, dad. Stop putting pressure on me," or something. And he was completely being nice, and it's just like, oh, they're like teenagers. Like this is part of the point here.
That was one of the moments that I thought was, in the discussion of cringe, there's a little bit where it's like a bit almost too.
No, that was cute.
But like I get it a bit. Like it can be very easy growing up in an area where if there's not a lot to do, where that just becomes the natural thing. Even in like city, like I've lived in towns and cities where a lot of economic development has kind of fallen short, so you just get these very bored kids just being delinquents basically, and it's kind of like a 90s equivalent of that.
Where like there's a lot of them being bored, and it's like Stacy Rockford would call Cassandra in that one part, and she's like, "I'm so freaking bored. Let's just go get drunk in a field or something." Whereas I feel like past the age of like 8, I was never bored because literally the internet existed, and there's like an infinite number of YouTube videos to watch, or games to play, or anything or like that. Like I remember being 8 and sitting on the couch and being like, I don't want to play PlayStation. I don't want to watch my Pokemon DVDs. I'm fucking bored. And I remember complaining to my mum and being like, I'm fucking bored. But like this like stopped as soon as I realized like what a computer was, and I had like my own laptop in my room.
But I guess if you're like 17 in the mid 90s, then yeah, like the internet would be there, but there wouldn't be as much. And if you don't have a games console, then I can get that to a degree. But even then, like I
think that would be the biggest generational difference. Just generally, it's like no kid today is bored ever. Like they have a million things to do.
But I'd say you could still get bored though, because like a lot of the stuff that exists today is just content slop, and it is just.
I think that's you being old, and kids love it.
Maybe.
Like somebody's got to be watching that stuff, and I'm pretty sure they're enamored with it.
A few weekends ago, I mean, the kids clearly are bored because a few weekends ago, we had to evacuate the Wendy's in town because a bunch of high schoolers were vaping in the disabled toilet. Like that, that was how they were spending their Saturday.
Well, I don't know. They're having fun or something. But vaping is definitely a big thing. My younger brother got in trouble for vaping a lot. So I think that's like that really, really got popular after me. So
Vaping is
this time I'm
like
too old for something.
so. Vaping originally obviously was meant to be a way to help you come off of smoking because it was meant to be better for you.
Yes.
But now vaping has just become the new smoking. Like I've met people who have never smoked who vape, and it is unbelievably cringe.
Kids, yeah.
I want to just say, like, we used to get told that the big PSAs we used to get in school, they used to try and emphasize all the time that smoking isn't cool, smoking isn't cool. But you look at vaping and you go, oh no, maybe smoking was cool, because vaping is pathetic. Unless you're like, if you're legitimate,
coolest thing they've ever seen.
If you're legitimately, I will say, just to say, if you're legitimately using it to help you quit smoking, that is fine. That is cool. If you're using it and you've never smoked before, you are just cringe.
Everybody, like, whenever I do go to parties now, they're like, oh, I guess some people smoke cigarettes, but it's like the edgiest boys. Like everybody else is vaping, and girls definitely love to vape. So
no, a bunch of my friends,
definitely a thing.
A bunch of my friends are still very much at parties. They'll crack out the cigarettes, but then again, I'm of that age. Although in the UK now, and I think this is a case in Australia. The UK now, we've now introduced rolling generational cigarette bans.
We don't have that quite yet, but people have talked about that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think anyone born after every year it's there's only a few whatever age is currently 18 now is like the last generation that will be allowed to buy cigarettes in the UK.
Yeah.
That might get repealed, but
I don't know. I feel like we make a lot of money on the taxes or something.
Yes.
So maybe we should keep them around. But true, and I just got the first battery warning, so maybe we should stop talking about nostalgia and talk about this goddamn game. But true. Anything else in this intro section? Mixing the songs you like into stuff is like the greatest feeling ever. I used to do it a lot in my videos. True, and I imagine it was an extremely fun experience for whoever was creating the soundtrack and tying it into the stuff like that.
They must have been having a fucking whale of a time on this game. Yeah. It's really well done as well.
I mean, if every song in this game hit, I feel like it would definitely take it up to like a 10 out of 10 or something. And then I have a general thing, because I tried to describe the Artful Escape generally when I said like it's a cinematic 2D walking sim something. So I said for this game, this is a lot harder to describe. It's not really a walking simulator. It's got skateboarding elements, though you probably wouldn't say it's a skateboarding game. But it's probably more a skateboarding game than the Artful Escape is a rhythm game. And it's also like a mini game collection. You explore 3D spaces and investigate things, and there's a lot of story. But it isn't a grand story. It's more of a coming-of-age small story. There are still surrealist elements, and the last thing I've written down is there's been a lot of Life is Strange comparison. Anything you want to say about any of that?
I've not played Life is Strange, but yeah, the minigame side. In fact, I think I saw when I was writing when I posted my own review of Mixtape on Backlogged, backlogged.com/Reka7. There were a bunch of people saying that like they just didn't like that it was just a minigame fest, and I was kind of cool with that. Partly again as a developer, because I'm looking at all the different minigames going, each of these probably had to have a bespoke implementation, and that's kind of interesting because when you're building a lot of games, you build like systems that will run throughout the entire game. But outside of like the skateboarding section or some of the bits where you're just walking around, there's not a lot of shared. There won't be a lot of shared systems. There'll be like a whole bunch of individual that they'll have had to make these individual minigames. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like
it's pretty cool too.
Yeah, the fact that they didn't try and find a generic solution for the whole thing. They just like, we'll just make this bespoke mechanic that we use just for one mini game where you're moving a couch around. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. The minigame part was a lot of fun. I liked it. Actually, this is interesting because I haven't thought about it this much, but maybe my least favorite part of the game, and I think this will probably be a standout for a lot of people, was kind of the dinosaur part, because it was a bit samey for a little while there.
It was a bit samey. So the dinosaur park for me, I vibed with for two things. One, I actually really loved the effects they were doing for the camera in that. I thought that looked great.
That was cute.
I do like dinosaurs, obviously, and there was just enough similarity in a lot of the architecture of the dinosaur park where I was like, this is a direct Jurassic Park reference. Like the architecture, so much of the architecture of the park is very similar to the architecture from the first film. Specifically, like I
haven't seen Jurassic Park anything. So
oh my god, you need to watch Jurassic Park. Like holy shit, man! Like. I will do like a movie one of these with you about like Jurassic Park films. Holy shit.
I'm sure. And The Thing. something else. I can't remember what the other one was. But
We've done Battle Royale already, but I'll do Battle Royale again.
True, he did do Battle Royale.
When you've got more battery life.
True. But yes.
That worked for me because I just loved that. Like, I am a 90s dinosaur kid for sure. So, like, that moment, like, that bit of nostalgia was direct for me. Plus, also, like, it's kind of funny as well. Like, it gave me some of the vibes, like, very small vibes to the dinosaur bit in The Last of Us Part 2 as well.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Yeah. That's what I thought of. I wasn't thinking about Jurassic Park reference. I said, oh, well, these guys love The Last of Us Part 2. What smart guys. But it's almost certainly your reference, not my reference. I just didn't think about it. But true. I don't know. Yeah, that was, I don't know. I liked exploring that area. Having to pause to take photos and like, I don't know. It was a little bit slower, I thought. But it was still fun.
Definitely one of the longer individual sections.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was fine.
Yeah.
But mini games, good. I think was the point of that.
I'm cool with mini games.
I think. Oh, and the Life is Strange comparison is also like that. Like I know a lot of people say Life is Strange is really cringe, and it's like high school bad stuff. Now, to be fair, I've only seen clips out of context, but from what I have seen about Life is Strange, I did go, that does seem a little cringe. Whereas for this, I'm on my hands and knees defending it over here. So maybe Life is Strange deserves another chance or something. But also, yeah, the genre thing is confusing. Like, if you called Mixtape a minigame collection, like, that wouldn't really describe it very well.
Backlogged has one of its genres as visual novel.
Yeah, but I feel like they've been weird with that a little bit. Yeah. But I did see that, because, yeah, I was looking at visual novels on stream the other day, because Heath was trying to get me to play Fate Strange again. And I looked on Backlogged at all the visual novels just to see, and it's like Steins Gate, and then I did see Mixtape there, so I was like, oh, I have played a visual novel, haha. But that is very weird. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
What else does it have?
So it has adventure, indie, music, and visual novel. Or it's
adventure would definitely be
genres.
The thing.
Yeah, like a 3D sort of adventure game. There is a bit of that, because adventure can kind of be a bit of anything.
Yeah. The also, I know there's a part of the controversy stuff is if it's indie or not was another thing, but also I don't care about that at all. But
yeah, I mean that comes into the is Silksong indie, considering how rich the developer, how much money the developers had.
And it was a big thing with Expedition as well, and it's like, oh
yeah,
I don't really care. But true. Then I have some more general things here before we get into direct things. At certain points at the beginning, I thought I had an issue with how the characters moved or something, with like the kind of frame rate. I know it's not literally frame rate, but like the choppy sort of art style or something as they like walked. Mm-hmm. But I definitely got used to it after like
I love that. It's a particular animation style I think is very cool. It's like you're animating at probably like, I don't know the exact specifics, but they're probably animating at like 12 frames a second. Well, it depends how you animate, but if you normally animate at 24, you're animating at 12. There's some really cool applications of that in like other. I mean, any kind of like one of the Lego games I worked on, we did that. We animated at a slightly different frame rate to make it look a bit more like Lego stop motion, not fully stop motion, but a bit more like it. And it can get some really cool effects. And I think in the Spider-Man Spider-Verse films, they did a really cool thing of animating Peter Parker at 24 and Miles Morales at 12 to show that he's more inexperienced and awkward with his Spider-Man powers. So he sort of swings about a lot more jerkily, whilst Peter Parker's got much more sort of smooth control of it. I think it's a cool technique, and I really liked it. Although there was at one point where I think my PC was like, I did notice that my PC's GPU was using 99% the whole time I was playing the game, which was crazy. But it had everything set to epic quality and the highest thing. I think I turned it down a little bit towards the end because I did see some frame drops that weren't the animation.
PCs are for typing documents, not playing video games. You heard it here first. You got to play it on a PlayStation machine. Rest in peace, physical games. You know, we're all very sad. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that. We got battery life, goddammit. Also, if it goes flat, I can just call into my phone and we can keep going. We do that with most of our other discussions now, so it's actually not that big of a deal. But, true, I like the art style. At the beginning, I was just getting used to it, I think. And true, it does look like the Spider-Verse arcane kind of clay people look a little bit. It's different, but it is in sort of that similar.
It's a really cool stylization. This is the kind of art style that will last a lot longer than some of the ultra realistic games that we've got this year. Calling it now, in 10 years' time, people will look back and go, "This game still looks great," but they're going to look back at some other games from this year and go, "Wow, this hasn't aged." I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's not going to change because I don't.
Is that true? I feel like we have to extend it now to like 20 years.
Yeah, it's
10 years ago, 2016, Uncharted 4 still looks great.
Yeah, the jumps are so much smaller now, so that's much less the case, I guess. The amount of effort we have to put in to get even marginal improvements is significant.
Wind Waker looks better than Ocarina of Time. Well, I guess those are two different consoles, but because it's got a stylization or something. I remember these.
Ocarina of Time also came first, so I wouldn't be surprised if Wind Waker looked better.
Well, it would probably be Wind Waker to Twilight Princess, right? That would probably be the better example.
I think comparing Zelda games, which have always been stylistic, is a bit weird. Comparing two different Zelda
games. We hated it for its style, remember? But then everybody.
Oh, did we? Oh, okay, yeah. Okami is still one of the best looking games ever made, and it came out on the PS2. And it's still one of the best looking games ever created.
Wait, what did you say? Which game?
Okami.
True, that's the one with the dog. It's getting a remaster or something, or a new game.
It's getting a sequel.
They announced it at one of those presentations I watched.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I give Mixtape my art direction award for the backlogged Game of the Year awards.
True. Pragmata looks pretty cool, but Mixtape definitely looked better. And those are the two games I played this year, so... My goodness. Narrative style... this is actually a big pivot. There's a thing in the game where Stacy is Rockford. I don't know why I wrote Stacy down a bunch of times. It's tripping me up. Which is funny that everybody knows her by her last name because she's cool and stuff. And not cringe.
Same with Slater. He even more so for him.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. She breaks the fourth wall all the time with monologues, and she's talking to the camera. There's like insert shots of live action stock footage and like the technology she's explaining, and there's like live action cut in photos all the time. Sometimes there's text pop-ups, and especially for like the track introductions and stuff like that. Each chapter of the game is by the track of the song, and they have a really cool version of doing the limbo inside / Artful Escape thing, where the chapter select instead it's like on the wheel because it's the disc and the mixtape and stuff like that. That's all cool. But yeah, all these things I think are really cool and add to a stylization. I don't know. I like fourth wall breaking stuff. I like different types of presentation and stuff like that. And it's cool to see in a little video game. Video games can do this nowadays. My goodness.
Yeah, it was really cool. And also, just like to nerd out, like I've always found, in my experience, FMV is a pain. So playing like an actual FMV video it's something that's always more annoying than anything else, than a lot of other things in game development. Obviously, we've got tools to make things easier, but usually stuff goes wrong. And it was when I was watching when Slater's playing his track for Rockford after she had her fight with Cassandra, and like the FMV was playing, and then the characters are being lit by the FMV itself, and I'm like, have they re-rendered that FMV with the characters in it, or are they like applying some kind of lighting as the FMV is? But like that kind of, I was kind of looking at that going, and this is just a purely sort of nerding out thing, like going, that's kind of wild. Like, and yeah, the way the FMVs are so seamless in the game, it's really cool because it's something I've always found, like, it's never like the easiest just plug and play. Even in like conventional game engines, there's usually a bunch of messing around with it to make it work. So yeah, I don't
know all the background stuff, but I say it looked cool too.
I was very impressed by some of that stuff. It looked because it was so seamless.
I agree. I didn't notice any switching up or anything like that. And my last note for this journal section was about the platonicness of it all, and we already talked about that.
Yes.
So now I have a bunch of chronological stuff in order. If we want to go through that, we can touch on it briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's fire through.
Because a lot of I feel like a big strength of this game is the minute to minute, where Artful Escape definitely struggled with that a little bit, where it was like there were some good minutes and there were a lot of down minutes, I would say. I think like there was always something clever going on. Somebody said something clever, whether it be a dialogue piece or a little story beat or something like that, or there'd just be a little fun interaction. A lot of the small details I think are what add up to make this game as good as it is. But we open, of course, on a skateboarding section, and I always liked the skateboarding stuff. I always liked the different running mini games we'd have. We have the flying one at the end, when you're skipping through the field and you start floating in midair, and anytime you're going downhill on something, it was always really cool to me. I liked how it controlled. It made you, it does give you like the fake adrenaline. Oh, I guess the best example for this is the trolley one.
The trolley one was wild. The trolley one was
that
was really cool.
That was a lot of fun. So yes, we start with skateboarding, which is the only one you kind of do a bunch of times, but every time you do it differently. Like the second time is a lot more interesting. Like you go through some being built houses and you go down the park and stuff like that. And then the third time is this time where you're flipping everybody off and it's exploding and stuff.
Yeah.
So skating was cool, huh?
It was very cool. It was very fun. Any of the people out there saying that the game plays itself, like, just don't get, like, you know, they're looking at it again purely as a mechanical execution and not as just the experience, which is what a video game is. It's like, it's the overall experience of what you're doing, and it's not just about, oh, how well, you know, how accurately or how correct, you know, this is a challenge to overcome. It's just, no, you're just sort of controlling a character in a very vibes based section, and it's cool, it's fun, and there's a little bit of gameplay. You can do like some ollies and kick flips and stuff. I know words.
True. I've never done skateboarding neither, but you know, this was pretty fun. The also, video games can be whatever we want them to be, and they can be a little skating game.
They can indeed,
and they can be experiences, and they can be not experiences. Well, probably not. It's probably an experience no matter what, huh? But true. We don't need these rules, is the point of this little monologue. But then we get to Stacy's house, and we got another thing, just like air guitaring, that's really, really lame. And it's always been lame, and it's lame whenever people do it, Mr. R. Do you know what it is?
Do I know what it is?
Something they do early on, and it's always lame.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember anything particularly lame in Stacy's house, unless I blocked it out.
Secret handshakes, Mr. R. They're lame. Admit it.
Okay, yeah, like, so I don't ever, like, that is something I have only seen in media. I have never seen a human being.
No, the kids definitely did it in school of my age, and I always thought it was lame and refused to do it.
We definitely never did that. So that for me was
also a big thing in sport, because the footballers do it all the time when I'm watching too. They'll have like different ones for different teammates.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where it comes from. I feel like I've seen American footballers do it too. So
okay.
But we're putting our foot down right now and saying it's lame.
It only happened once though, so
yes, it was. I think it's the first kind of mini game besides skating you do, but it's not even a mini game. You just press them in order, whichever order you want. It's literally fine, but I just had to get on my soapbox for a second. The next thing is her dad is so nice, and then she yells at him, which is very funny. And then we're in her room, and this is sort of the outline of the game, is we're in 4 different locations, and we go around the locations and interact with things. Mm-hmm. We got Rockford's room, then we go to Cassandra's room, then we go to the Ritz, which is the abandoned shack in the middle of nowhere, and then we go to Slater's room at the end. And here we investigate photos, and we have to put them back up there. There's the kiss mini game. It comes into play here. There's the headbanging video mini game.
Oh, the fucking headbanging thing. I have that as a specific note.
Great, huh?
That was so good. It was so like diegetic. And the fact is, the thing that I really liked, and they do this in a few of these, when the camera sort of zooms all the way out, and you think, oh, it's just a cinematic, it's still interactive. You can still control the headbanging. It's the same when you're directing the fireworks later on.
Cheeseburger, and you can yell cheeseburger at him a bunch.
Yeah, and it doesn't tell you have to. And again, this is where I think again the complaints of it's not a game. And it's like, it doesn't matter. It's you are choosing to interact with this world, and that is cool. That is like that
stuff feels very gamey.
It felt very gamey, but it's just like, I think it's because it's gamey where you're not being told, where you don't have to do it. I think like this is a weird thing as well. Like, and again, going back to Sean's video about Stellar Blade and stuff, it's not totally the same thing, but a lot of things that people who complain a lot about games is they actually hate having the choice to do something. They want to just they have to either have to do it or they don't. And I feel like this might be one of those things that are just getting people's nerves, the choice to make the game do this thing. It's like, oh, well, why isn't it just making me do this, you know? These people, I think, I don't know, they'd be happier if it was like an actual rhythm game you could fail, or if it was just a cinematic, but the fact that it's sort of...
that would have been so annoying. Oh, you have to redo it a bunch of times?
Both of those...
Headbanging wrong?
Either of those would have been terrible. The fact that you can just fuck around and do whatever you want is awesome. Also, maybe a bit of a... Is it a Wayne's World reference? I don't know. If it is, it's funny.
That's something I've heard of, but I have no idea what it is. So I bet it was from the olden days. You seem to like those olden day movies. It's funny because I've watched it is funny that I have a hole with 80s and early 90s movies, but I've seen a bunch of weird 40s movies and shit like that. So I don't know why I'm shit talking old media just because I haven't seen Jurassic Park or something. But whatever I need to express in the moment to be mean. This is another thing where I'm like directly contradicting like complaints I had for the Artful Escape, where like this is a part of its like game expression, right? You get to headbang however much you want to, right? But I like it in this, whereas with the like dialogue options and the customization and stuff like that, I didn't really like that in the Artful Escape that much. But here, whenever you could do it, I thought it was really cute and you could do it. And also a bunch of little details like they're pressing the light on and off, and then
that was
the fucking the seat thingy or the lock or whatever. And it's just,
I think it's because the setup it gives you, you inevitably try to create your own rhythm. You're not trying to match like a rhythm the game's telling you. You are creating. It's the same when the fireworks were up. I was trying to line it up, but that's just because I wanted to do that, not because I was being told to do that. And it just
grand and cool. Yeah, and this should be a cool moment for our favorite characters.
The scenarios it's presented to allow that form of expression, I think, are just better than it was in the Artful Escape. So I don't think it's contradictory to say you liked it in this, but not in the Artful Escape, because it's the environment it's created to allow you to express yourself is just better.
And things that work in one game can work the opposite way and be good in the other
Absolutely.
game. Video games can be whatever we want them to be. What an endless, boundless canvas. Oh my god, there was an expedition game about canvases and stuff. But that game wasn't that good.
I do wonder, what would Artful Escape, what would Mixtape look like if you played it and didn't do a single optional interaction? What would that game look like? I'd be very curious. It would probably look awful. And I think that's what, again, some of these criticisms are trying to levy, where the game can still basically be finished without you doing any of this, and it's awful as a result. But that's on you.
But why would they ever? Yeah, they're not going to design it in case somebody never does nothing. It's just like, whatever. They do it in sync, and then they get scared by the cops, and then they turn the lights on and off. True. Ordering cheeseburger. True. And they headbang. Oh, and then after they get their meal or whatever, they headbang with the meal, and that was cute too. So there are a bunch of little interactions in that sequence. Then we get the shopping cart escape minigame, which was probably one of my favorites. It's got even more momentum than like the skating ones.
It's kind of crazy. And again, I like that. Oh, sorry, on you go.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, this is, I think, one of those instances where the fact that the game doesn't really have as hard failure states works in its favor, because that thing is really hard to control, but you're not punished for not being able to control it. Yeah. And that works really well.
And like the lack of control is like the point where it's like, oh, fuck, go this way. And
but can you imagine if that thing, if you actually had to control it properly and you were game overing every 10 seconds trying to see it? That would be awful.
It would be, oh my god, that reminds me of Crash Twinsanity and those things. You had to go back to the beginning every time. Now that's not a very good game. The cop thing where the cop's doing the voiceover from the helicopter, and it's like one of those surrealist elements where he's like, I've only seen this like 4 or 5 times in my whole lifetime, or this week, or something he says. There's a bunch of like, because it does selectively do these like surrealist things, like again later when you're blowing shit up. Or
even when you're flying through the field, like all these sections inevitably. Like I feel like even the shopping cart itself, that whole thing is just too mental to have ever been real. So I think that in itself is probably they are imagining because it's a memory, so they're imagining a much more surrealist version of what probably happened, which was they probably just got on a shopping cart, rode it downhill, and probably crashed it.
Yeah. Or they literally were just running on a flat plane and it didn't go fast or whatever. But yeah, a bunch of moments like that are really cool. Cassandra and Stacy stealing outside of a shop. That's where she gets the lighter for the first time. And this comes back later, and this is a memory.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stacy has a few of the monologues I thought were pretty good in the game, but this one is the one about how time is drifting by, and she always feels like she's missing something, and that she's like music grounds her or holds a moment or something.
Yeah,
I thought this was a neat thing because the game is a lot about music, and like you do associate memories with music, whether they be good or bad. And it can make things seem grander than they are, like most artistic, interpretive things can. And there's a lot of, like, obviously this is bound to memories, and this is kind of the conceit of the game, I guess. Music giving meaning, because music is always going somewhere, she says. But yeah, I liked a bunch of these little monologues, and that was
I wondered from reading that, now I may be way off base here, is Stacy meant to be a bit sort of coded as potentially being on the spectrum? With like the having a grounding base. I don't know enough about it. Like there was just a moment where I was kind of like, is this is this a direction that they're potentially going in?
Just from what I know about the guy, I viewed it more as a self-insert.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that's probably more likely, considering if he's actually from. I didn't know he was like a musician who had his own band and then formed a games company with his band. Like,
well, even then, I guess he would be more like the Slater character, because a big point is that she doesn't want to be a musician. She wants to be a music composer or whatever.
True.
Not a composer or a compiler or whatever the name is. But yeah, I'm not sure. This was a relatable thing, because when I was young, like, I would walk around and always listen to stuff in my headphones. It was usually YouTube videos. It wasn't always music. But this is definitely a relatable thing, and people being annoyed that you don't take your headphones out or whatever, and like, you're out at a birthday party when you're 14 or something, and you're just like sitting at the table with your headphones in, and your mom says, "Take those out. You're being rude," or whatever. Like, I feel like this is relatable, like, rebellious teenager. I don't want to listen to this shitty conversation, like,
yeah.
stuff. But who knows? Maybe I'm on the spectrum too. I wouldn't put it past me. But yeah, I didn't think about that, but maybe.
It was just a little moment that had me wondering, possibly. But again, I don't want to, like, overly, just diagnose any sort of slightly different behavior.
That's what we do here on YouTube, I believe. So we'll fit right in. Then we move into raiding the sister's room. This is kind of a cute aspect where it was like the sister has like a reputation that Rockford doesn't know anything about, and like, everybody thinks she's super cool, and Cassandra's heard that she's super cool, and she's like left this scavenger hunt thing.
Yeah.
For them to do. Which
I kind of wish we got to see more of the sister. I was quite interested, but I guess that's kind of maybe kind of the point. There's sort of mysterious.
The ominous figure watching over them.
But that's the thing. I had a friend in high school who had like an older brother who was 5 years older. So when I went to high school, I was in first year, he was in his sixth year, and he was just like, in my mind, he was the coolest person I knew. Because he was like this kind of, he didn't really care. He was always listening to like a mini disc player on the bus and stuff. He was also going into game development, and then after I finished high school, we kind of actually just became friends, because when you're all sort of adults, it all kind of blends together, and it's like, okay, cool. No, he's just another dork like me. But you have that, you create like these mythologies about people who are, especially when you're in high school, because the 5-year gap seems
ginormous,
massive.
Even your 1 year gaps seem crazy in high school. I remember thinking that. Like, I don't know. Even sometimes I'll find myself going back into that where I'm like, man, grade 10 is like so old, and I'm like 25, and I'm like, well, I'm 25 now, Mr. Rock. Can you believe that shit? But I'll be like, whoa. That's like 10 years younger than me. And it's like, even as like I'm stuck in my like 7-year-old, like, whoa, high school. That's like an old people thing.
Yeah.
One day I'll be like those old people, but like, it just passes you by.
And again, it does love to mythologize, because again, what's her name? Is it Camille? When she shows up, she shows up with a convoy of cars, gets out, is really cool. And then at the party, she sort of comes down from like a big light comes down, and she just emerges from the light again as this really cool sort of mythological character, and her whole thing is she's like, what, a college student, and that's about who throws a cool party every year. But
she was in a music video with they name dropped a celebrity, I forget.
There was that as well. But there's these the characters they consider cool are like these actual sort of almost show up in like these sort of mythological sort of senses. But that's how you
there's a guy named Kyle in this game. I remembered that, and he was like, Slater like looks up to him, and he's like, man, he's playing football at that college or whatever. But then he's like, yeah, I spent a lot of time on the bench, dude. And it's like, he's not actually that cool at the end, but Slater still thinks he's so cool because he's just like in college and stuff.
But again, it's just it's that mythology of how you viewed the social hierarchy when you were in high school.
Yeah, and then college is so much older, and they're so cool and stuff like that. True, the sister was in college or something. It's crazy. She was 3 years older. But after that, we run into the slushy minigame is the next thing I have written down here. I don't know if they have slushies where you're from, where it's freezing cold all year, but, slushy is a big thing in Australia. Were you confused by this contraption?
No, I've seen them before. We don't usually have as many choices as that. And
we do. In 7-Eleven, there's like 50.
Yeah, I typically don't. I mean, we don't have 7-Elevens, so I typically don't go for that sort of stuff, because usually it costs extra, and I don't really do full sugar drinks. So yeah, it's not something I've ever been to too much. But yeah, when I go to like my local cinema, They usually have like two flavors, red and blue. I don't know what they are, but those are the two flavors you get.
When I went to see Supergirl, they were broken down, so I couldn't get one, and I was very upset that I couldn't get my $20 fucking slushie.
What my cinema does have, though, is it has the Coca-Cola Freestyle machine, and that lets you put flavored syrups into any of the soft drinks. So I'll do like, so I did still vibe with it, because when I go, I'll get, because I do my caffeine-free, and it's really cool that the machine has caffeine-free, so I'll do half of normal caffeine-free Diet Coke, and then like a third of lime, and the rest as raspberry, and mix that up. So I get a raspberry and lime, but not like overpowering, and that becomes that's like my go-to mix of my go-to cocktail of choice at the cinema.
I usually avoid lime things. Not a big fan of lime, but you know, what's best for me might not be best for you, as they say. A video game can be anything, they say. But true, this was cute. I like this little slushy mini game. Let me tell you, even McDonald's has slushies in Australia. They're so popular because it's so freaking hot. But true, this was cute. I noticed there was a trophy for making Slater's special mix or something.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what that entails.
Yeah,
but
me neither.
I did not get that trophy.
Maybe it was a dialogue hint that I just didn't pay attention to.
Or maybe it's just some crazy... Yeah, maybe you said something earlier or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But this is where we meet Jenny freaking Goodspeed for the first time.
And
she doesn't even listen to the music in movies.
Yeah. Jenny fucking Goodspeed, I think you mean. It's very interesting, actually. It's very interesting with Jenny, actually, because, like, nothing we're presented with suggests she's, like, a horrible person. Rockford
obviously just Rockford.
Rockford just hates her because she doesn't like music.
That's all she needed to know about her, she says.
Yeah.
But it was great. It's like a high school drama, haha, very funny.
Because it's like you would expect when you hear about it, when you first hear about Jenny fucking Goodspeed, you expect her to be like the typical high school mean girl.
Yeah.
And she isn't. She's just a nice lady.
She's just a bit ditzy.
She's just a bit ditzy at worst.
And then later, she's gonna steal Rockford's girl, and we'll have a funny little montage.
Because that's the thing. Because Cassandra, obviously, like, you know, it is again that dynamic. I think going back to the dynamic of the three, it's so good because Cassandra came in a bit later. Rockford and Slater are very similar to each other. Cassandra is, you know, she does like music, but she is clearly very different from the two of them. But she loves their love of being their rebellious nature is what kind of draws the three of them together. Even though Cassandra obviously does like the music, which I think, you know, means that it makes perfect sense that Cassandra is also friends with someone like Jenny, because it's like it's not like she's the exact same kind of interests as Slater and Rockford, who are very, very similar, like two peas in a pod sort of thing.
Yeah. The oh god, I had something but I forgot it, I think. The completely blank I've gone, but there was something you said in there that was super true, and I was going to say yes. So maybe we'll just say I'm saying it for all of it. There's something to do with them showing up at different times and Cassandra. Oh, because yes, I remember now. Cassandra, when they're doing the softball thing later, she says like, oh, your love for music or something, like passion is hot or something, and that's why I like you, or like because you like music so much. And she didn't have the thing. She was just a series of after school specials or something, she said, which I thought was a good line. And so it's like Cassandra's passion, not Cassandra, Rockford's passion. It's like her defining feature almost. And it is kind of that like young person thing of like you're super obsessed with this one thing and you think that that's going to be your life. Whereas like 10 years later, she's probably, I don't know, I don't want to be too doomer, but I don't think she's going to get this job with this person she's never met that she's going to walk up to and hand a mixtape to and be super successful or whatever. Like she's going to, like probably in 10 years she's gonna be like, remember when I wanted to do that thing, because she's got a bunch of other things going on, but you are very obsessed with a certain thing, like in high school. I feel like
I mean, I got really lucky. So my first obsession was killed early. I genuinely as a kid wanted to be a paleontologist for years. After seeing Jurassic Park, genuinely I was well into dinosaurs as a kid. Really into dinosaurs as a kid. I still love dinosaurs now. Who doesn't? Apart from Kyle. But it was, I think, for me, it was just, I ended up, a couple of things. That my pal who had the cool older brother, I learned he was going to go make video games, and I thought, that's pretty cool. And then I played Warcraft 3, and I was like, no, I'm going to make video games. This is, games are more than just gameplay. And that was my turning point. Well, thankfully it didn't come from disappointment, but yeah, no, I do get what you mean. People will have that, sometimes do have that, you know, switch moment in their life.
Dumb plan. Because this is really relatable for me, because obviously it was, firstly, video games could be anything was a great joke with what you were saying, so just pretend I said that when it was time appropriate. Because I had the same thing with wrestling, right? Where I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And when I was 17, it's like, obviously I'm not going to university. I'm going to do this thing. And obviously I'll be successful in like 3 months and then it'll all be good. It's like now, like since I've gotten back from my wrestling training thing, I haven't watched wrestling really at all, and it's like it's not really something I think about too much. So
yeah, because I remember because you went over to like New Zealand or something to do some wrestling thing, didn't you?
In 2023 to 2024.
What a wild time!
But true.
That's when I saw. Obviously, none of you will see it. That's when I saw the first ever Kyle Entertainment face reveal photo.
True. I remember that. That's crazy. But when I was at Elite Ari's place, there was a face reveal.
There was that as well.
Together, so,
yeah.
So the people have seen it a little bit if they want.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But true, Mr. Ig had the exclusive back then. But yes, so yeah, I thought that part was very relatable too.
And I can see how that does apply for some folks. Like, and everyone has a different experience. Like, again, my younger sister, she never really found her. Like, I found my niche super quickly, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do and how to do it. She never really fell into that, and still, she's in her 30s now as well, and she's still not necessarily found it directly. She's found sort of areas that she definitely fits in well at, but she never had like the same progression as me, where I was like doggedly determining exactly one path and only that one path, almost to my detriment.
There is an interesting aspect of that part, particularly in the game, where it's Rockford's got this plan, and then Cassandra's going to university or college or whatever, so that's where she's going. But Slater is just going to stay behind. And it's like he really doesn't have a plan. And he seems to be like the most sad about the whole situation. And he kind of does seem to be the dumbest one a little bit, even though he's really nice. And we love the great Slater here, which is interesting because as Slater was introduced, I was like, oh no, this is a character I'm not going to like. But he was very endearing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was the same. When I was first introduced to him, I was like, oh, we have met the worst of the three. And then it's like, no, they're all actually really good. Yeah, he does. He gives off that sort of more sort of subtle sadness. He is like going to be the left behind person. And again, I know someone from high school who was like the left behind. There was like a group of 5 of us. 4 of us went to university, and he didn't, and he struggled a bit as a result of that. I think because he was very, we were all not that far away, but we were all away. We were all hanging out with people who were into very similar things, very similar areas as us, areas of specialty as well that we knew about. So I can see that being really difficult.
Yeah, but even then, I don't even like Slater's probably gonna like meet a girl at 21 and like have kids and get a job in that town and never leave or something. But even then, I don't like think he'll be too sad about it. I think he'll just be like, yeah, that's how it happened or whatever.
He just gets to do his thing.
There's like an ambition. There's like a lack of ambition or drive thing or something.
I did also notice
it's not like a bad thing. I don't think.
I did also notice is his mum like a bit of a hippie as well?
Well, yeah, and she was like offering them drinks or something. It was like
funny. Offering them drinks, and then as soon as Cassandra's dad showed up, she was like, "Oh fuck, it's the pigs."
Yeah, because some sort of hippie. Like they seem a little poorer than the other ones, even though they all have ginormous bedrooms. Yeah, which is crazy, and ginormous beds, by the way.
And I'll say as well, like single parent upraising as well. Like that can also obviously change. That can change a lot as well. That can obviously change a lot of things as well. No, obviously, no individual single parent household is the same, but I think that possibly does have an effect.
I think it's definitely supposed to be he's like poorer than the others. But true. There was something in there. What do I think I forgot?
I will say as well on that note, and I've seen like people saying this as well. Like, so I think of like Rockford's decision versus like my own decisions, and I feel like I did move away down south when I finished university. But I made sure to time the starting of my job so that I could still do one last thing with my friends. Like, I deliberately, like, we all planned, like, after we finished uni, we all, like, went out. One of our friends, their parents had, like, a small cottage out in the middle of nowhere. So we booked a weekend, we took a weekend and we all went to that cottage together. And I made sure that my start date was after that. And I think that is the thing. Like, my friend group in high school was strong, but by the end of university, my friend group was super strong. I'm still friends with most of them now. And I think for a situation like Cassandra's, I would 100% have gone with Cassandra. I would not have. Harder to say when I was in high school, to be fair, because obviously high school, you're like, oh my god, my future, I need to think about it. But that's me being like very uptight about everything, and Rockford's not an uptight person. So, like, I will say, Rockford, I think, is a bit of a dick in that situation. Like,
it's interesting.
But again, if she'd got that meeting organized, I can't remember. Did she actually have a meeting organized with the person, or was this literally?
No, she was like, she knew where she was going to be that day, so she was going to show up and like ambush her. She even jokes that she's like stalking her or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, like that. Yeah, so that 100% to me is just like, come on, you could have gone with your best friend.
See, this is interesting because I feel like there are points in life where it's just like, you're just so single-minded in something where it's like, obviously I'm not going on this road trip, even because I believe that she really always wanted to go on that road trip, but there's just something that comes along that like supersedes it. Like I always thought like I really like this area, well, not really the area I live in, but I like living in like Queensland because I like the city and I like that the football teams are around and stuff like that. And I was like, I would never like want to live like in a different country or something. And then I met my girlfriend in New Zealand and I was like, well, if I never have to see my parents again, that's fine. Like, this is obviously a thing I would do, like, over, like, this takes precedent. And it just, like...
Yeah, when you're young...
It's not even like you make a decision. It just, like, snaps and, like, your brain is completely changed.
Yeah,
so I feel like it's, like, that sort of a drive
I do get that. At the end of the day, I mean, I moved down south. I moved down south. Basically ended my relationship basically ended when I moved away from where my girlfriend during uni was at the time, again because we both pursued our careers first and it just became incompatible and we moved miles away, and I spent like 5 years down south, and then after that sort of point, after I'd sort of done that initial sort of moment, that's when I started to then consider what was important, and that's what made me move back up actually during COVID to pursue, still pursuing my career, but back where I wanted to be rather than where I felt I had to be for my career.
Yeah, it's interesting because there is something particular about the sudden snap that's like, you just sort of expect people around you to understand, but like obviously you are in the wrong, but there's not even a consideration. It's not even well, I guess in the end it is an insensitive thing, but it's just like obviously if this person was in my position, they would make the exact same choice, even though they would never understand that. It's like a weird disconnect where it's like I don't know, it's like personhood is like individual and you do like stupid things or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, it's a very interesting sort of intersection or something. But true, she abandoned their goddamn road trip. It's not good, but they. And
I will say as well, even though I say that Rockford's a bit of a dick for the whole thing, I do kind of appreciate that they still stuck with it. It wasn't like Rockford came to this, I'm not going to do this. It's kind of dumb. She still has like that sort of emotional goodbye with Cass and with Slater.
Yeah.
At the end, like she's still determined to do it, and it's like, you know what? A lot of media would just be like, we're gonna have the absolute, the all happy ending together, where it's like,
like none went on the road trip, or
like
something.
we went on the road trip, or none of us are leaving, kind of thing.
Yeah, but yeah, like the point of the game is people are gonna leave. Like the people, it's just like you don't really talk to your high school people that much, even if you swore you would.
Yeah, I keep in contact with like specifically 4-5 of my high school people, and I'm really, really close friends with them. Like, I've been like groomsman at a couple of the weddings and stuff. But that's it. But even then, like some of my absolute best friends in my final year of high school, I don't speak to. I see their I'll like the odd update they do on Instagram, but that's about the grand total of it.
But even then, it's like, it's not even just like they're going to be gone. Like, I think she even says, like, Slater says he's going to call her tomorrow or something when she's in New York or something. It's like, it's never a hard cutoff usually. It is like, some calls and like for the first 3 months, maybe but it's like this period of your life where you were together, and the period of the life you will think back on as like when you were all together. Like that'll probably never happen. Like every one of your high school friend group being together, the last time probably was the last day of high school. Yeah. Even if you see them individually or something like that, it's like an end of an era type thing. That's
absolutely.
The game is like trying to be about.
Me and my friends have definitely tried to avoid that since uni. We do an annual meetup. We do like 2 now actually, where we all try and get together. But even then, people can't make it for various things. Some of our people have kids and stuff now, so it's like even then it doesn't necessarily happen the same way. But
time doesn't stand still or something. Cowboy Bebop probably said it. But true, deep end stuff. Now, which minigame were we up to?
We just did slushies and talked about Jenny fucking Goodspeed.
Jenny Goodspeed. Yes. Then we have the pick up and place minigame. Oh, this is when we're in the drawer in the sisters' room. Then we have then we take photos with Slater because Cassandra's like, what did you even do before me? And they're like, oh, we used to hang out at the mall and stuff. And then we have the photo montage.
That was pretty
and then,
cute.
Oh, we see like it was cute. And then we see the sisters like photos of all her friends where it's like, oh, this like happens to everybody is kind of like a cyclical thing. Later in the scavenger hunt, she once left them a map to the Ritz, which is what we pick up with then, where we walk through a train and there's like a cool little, there's like a cool shot of the train and Cassandra and Rockford talking. And then there's a monologue about how you've got to earn loudness or something, and about how motorcycles are lame that Rockford has, which I thought was cute. Then we have the running in the wind mini game.
That for me was my first 10 out of 10 moment in the game. I thought that was incredible.
It was great. Yeah, it was really good. And just like the running and stuff like that. Yeah, it was really good.
Again, so whimsical.
Like,
you could just like you know, as a kid, it literally felt like that kid like moment of, oh, I'm going to try and do the biggest jump I can kind of thing. It felt very, very much like that. That was awesome.
Yeah, with that surrealist like addition, and it's really cool. And then after that, they see the house and they like claim the house or whatever. I don't know if you paint the door now or that's later. Actually, I think that's later.
That's later when you're doing all the clue hunting.
Yeah. And then there's a cute moment where Slater is like the last one to say goodbye to the room. And there's like an emotionality to that I thought was really cute. And it's like, oh yeah, like saying goodbye. And then they walk out, and I think he even verbally says like goodbye, Rockford's room or something.
Yeah.
And it is the last time we see it in the game. Can you believe it? Then we have the skate to Cassandra's house. We've kind of already talked about that. Then we see them meeting Cass for the first time. She says she's decided to disappoint her parents. And then there's like a hard cut to like them skating and her like flipping off a car and saying, eat a dick or something. And it's like, oh, cute. She's like the meanest one because she's like actually mad about something. And then we get the skipping rocks mini game, which was one of my favorite ones.
That was really good.
Hit a bunch of stuff, knock them over, and you could talk for a long time. And I talked for a long time there. It was cool. I wanted to know more about the characters and everything like that. I assume there is an end to where they just start either not talking or repeating. I don't think I got that far before I decided to leave.
Yeah, I can't remember. I feel like conversation certainly slowed down by that point.
Yeah, at the end.
And I got the achievement for fucking the stone through the ring as well.
No, I did everything but that. When I saw the achievement later, I was like, oh, of course. Where I like knocked all the rocks over. I knocked like all the cans into the water. I like did everything except for that because I hit it a bunch of times, but I never went through it. And I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. And also you like when you're flying later, you fly past that area, like beneath that bridge. Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. But yes, I like the skipping rocks thing. Then we get to Cassandra's room, which is hideous.
Oh god, it's like so grim. And it's like you look at that
about the silk sheets or something, or is about how the parents are like inviting her to be a whore or something. It was very funny. And the ugly pictures on the wall. Yeah. Oh no.
Like that room and Cassandra's attitude tells you so fucking much. Like you know within seconds. You don't need to be told. You know immediately she did not decorate that room. Like and like
the ugly bathroom that's right there, not good. Oh, and also she's got like the Constitution in her room or something that she has to read. That her father's obviously put there. That was very funny. That was like one of the optional things you could look at the bookcase. And then she's got all these trophies because she's good at everything.
Yeah.
She just hasn't found her passion.
Yeah, she's she's like the rebellious. Like again, it is a very common thing. Like you see anything where there's like a family. Yeah, like I kind of vibe with that a little bit because when I was a teenager, my parents put a firstborn child. My parents put a lot of pressure on me to succeed academically, and I did, but I did not enjoy it at all.
No. See, my parents never did that. They just wanted me to have a good behavior or something. And I guess I had that. I didn't really do nothing bad, but there was never really any pressure. See, when I was in elementary school, oh my God, I said the American one. When I was in primary school, I got A's and stuff, but in high school, I just said, I don't care. And I didn't even pay attention. And they didn't really care that I got C's and stuff. So there was no pressure there for me. So that's another thing that I don't relate to, but it was still good. She was mad at them and I liked being mad. That was good. And I think here we get the first one where they're arguing downstairs. No, I think this is after the TPing incident, so we can talk about that later. But at first we have the baseball minigame, which is really cool.
Baseball minigame's so good.
Comes out of the green. Yeah, and they use the song from the Transformers soundtrack or whatever.
Yes, that's like the one song I knew from the, not because I've seen Transformers, I've just heard it in other contexts, but yeah. I knew that. I did know that song.
True. I didn't know it was from Transformers either, but I recognize the song. But it is cool. Like, she hits it, and then the song cues, and it's like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. And I do like as well that even though, like, Rockford's established herself as not really being into sports, she still shows excitement when she sees how good Cassandra is at it. Like, she's still that support a friend. It's not just kind of like, oh, why are you doing this? It's like, holy shit, you're really good at this.
Yeah, and that was funny because somebody in a car drove past and said, fuck you, Rockford, or something, and then Cassandra got really mad at them and said, kill yourself or something. Yeah. That was really good. I have a line written down, which she goes on a monologue here, where she says, I feel like I'm running out of time, which is very funny because she's like 17, and everybody thinks that's really funny when young people say it, but young people really do feel that way, because I know I felt like that, and I still feel like that now, and Mr. I looks back at me and says, wow. You're so young, and I say, I'm dying, I'm fucking dead, it's all over. Yeah,
like, honestly, it's like, it does feel like the world's going to end, and I think part of that is because obviously, like, there's so much emphasis on getting that university degree to get your first job, I do kind of understand that you kind of, there's this expectation that you figured everything out, but it's not that bad. An example,
you can go back later.
You can. An example I point to in video games is Jeff Kaplan, who was the creative director, or he was the game director for Overwatch, and he was also really involved in the World of Warcraft for years, and now he's gone off and formed his own studio since Blizzard basically pissed him off too much. He started in the games industry at 29. So just to give an idea, and he then went on to, despite doing that, he went on to become the game director of Overwatch, and it's very funny because he started, if you look back, the people unearthed old Reddit posts from him from before he was in the games industry, when he was like in his early 20s, mid 20s, of him slagging off game developers and calling them the R word for being bad at game development. So,
that's probably some good Reddit posts. When he started that, I was like, oh, where's this going? But he was just being mean to game developers.
he was an edgy know nothing idiot at one point on Reddit, and he has now gone on to become a very successful game developer, starting basically at 30. So yeah, it's so easy to think that the world that life ends if you don't know what you're doing when you finish high school. But it's not the case. You may just take longer to get there. Obviously, it's more difficult because we live in an absolutely fucked socioeconomic situation due to capitalism, but yeah.
Don't worry, I'm rich. No, I'm not. So I'm not doing too good neither. But Cassandra, she's going to university. She's going to be a rich one. Did they say what she's doing?
Was it law? I feel like it was law, or am I making that up?
I think so. That's probably why she has the Constitution in her room, huh? For what was it? Biology went into my head, but I don't know if that's true. And I don't know where I would have gotten that from. But law sounds better, so we'll go with that one. But true, she felt like she was running out of time. And then we TP the principal's house. Now, this is something that's in old movies that I believe maybe happened one time.
Yeah, that I never saw that happen in the UK. Kids couldn't afford that much toilet paper in the UK.
True.
Also,
a lot of it.
And also, again, it depends on when it's set. The UK has had mass surveillance for so fucking long. I can't imagine a time when you'd be able to get away with that. Like, we adopted a lot of mass surveillance very, very early. Like, there for as long as I can remember, there's been like CCTV on like every fucking street in every fucking town in the UK. It's insane how much surveillance there is here.
I don't know if I've ever seen a camera on a street, like on a suburban street.
Suburban, maybe not as much, but yeah, it's not something I ever imagined.
The principal's house is very big. He definitely has a security camera, I bet. Or maybe it's just the olden days. They didn't have them back then or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the 90s is probably the last time you could get away with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff that you see, so much of it just couldn't, with like running from the bumbling cops and everything, that's just not possible these days. Like, the amount of money that law enforcement has, even in small communities, is insane.
Well, even that, like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't think I don't know. It's also like a teenage house party, so I don't know if the cops are like necessarily going to chase people that run away or something like that for those. But I don't know. I was never at a house party. There's something. Oh, the egging of the house is another thing. They mentioned that. Like, I've never seen that. I do remember kids getting in trouble in primary school for knocking and running on some doors.
Yeah, so, I remember that, but that was in like a super tiny neighborhood. When I was actually about 10 years ago, I was at a McDonald's and some kids egged the McDonald's because they didn't like the manager because the manager had banned them.
That would be so bad. Imagine if you're working there and you have to clean up the eggs because of your dumb fuck manager. Oh, that would be terrible.
Oh no, the kids were the problem. The manager wasn't in the wrong. The manager just banned them because they've been like fighting in the McDonald's and harassing the staff. So she banned them. So they came back and just threw eggs at it. Like, not like, and again, like when you're egging houses and stuff, you're not doing it whilst there are people like who can easily know it's happening. Like, the point of TPing generally is
they come home.
Yeah. They come home to it, or they're asleep when it happens. No, like these kids showed up when there were like customers and everything. They were lobbing eggs at the windows while customers were trying to eat. It's because
somebody had to clean up those eggs.
Oh yeah.
It's like when I worked at the supermarket, there's always coffees. Customers would spill coffees everywhere. Ugh, and you'd have to clean it up. Not good. But true. TP in the house, true. And then Cassandra volunteered herself to get in trouble. My goodness.
Because she had like a spot, because she still had her spotless record at that point, and she was like,
that's when the parents have the conversation downstairs and stuff.
She's like the wonder child.
And she's got her detention slip on the mirror in the bathroom or whatever, and that's how you get into this memory.
And I love how it's just a lapse of judgment. The principal was willing to show some.
It was the cop's daughter.
The cop's daughter, who was also probably like what, valedictorian they call it in.
Yeah, something like that. She was a positive lady or whatever. Oh, and the next one is Cass hanging out with Jenny instead of with Rockford, and we get the black and white floating backward thing, which I thought was really cute. I like that one a lot. And she's gone through like the restaurant, and then she hits the pigs and the balloons and stuff like that. That one was cool. True. And then putting the camera together video game. Oh yeah, then we go into the dinosaur segment. You had to stomp on the world map at some point. And then you were going through a bunch of rides. It was cool. I like rides, like weird rides like that in games.
The kaiju mode was fun, and it's absolutely something that a teenager would do. Fuck it, I'd probably do it as an adult if I was in that same situation.
It was funny. I was kind of annoyed that it made you walk slow. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. So I was like rushing around. So, but true. And then we get probably the most dramatic scene in the whole, well, maybe not besides the ending scene of the game, which is the father showing up and grounding her, and they've busted the party and stuff like that. And it's funny because it really makes you mad. And it's like totally like teenage mad of like, clearly they kind of are in the wrong here. They shouldn't be drinking probably.
Yeah, like, because again, when a 17-year-old's drinking in the UK, it's not a huge difference because our drinking age is 18. But America, I always forget, it's 21, which is insane. Is. And they bring up the whole thing, there's like, oh, we can marry, we can shoot someone, we can, go
to war,
have kids, but we can't. Yeah. But we can't buy a fucking gin.
The cigarette age is 18 or 21.
I think it's 18 in the US, but I'm not sure.
That would be pretty funny. I wonder where weed is legal. Is that 18 or 21?
I'm honestly not. I don't know. But yeah, but in the UK, the equivalent would be like drinking at 15. But at that point, you're a child at 15, so that what you're doing is wrong. So you don't get like, you'll get pissed off, but you'll not be like, oh, it's the end of the world. Why are they doing this? You're not meant to be drinking at 15. At 17, you're kind of like,
no, I think as a kid you would still be like, oh, these fucking dumb parents don't understand that I am old enough to do this thing, or is kind of like that. But also he does like say she's not going to university, which is like obviously her salvation or whatever, and getting away from them.
Yeah, that's fucking rough.
Which is also, I was like, you can get there without them, right? You just have to call them, and they would be like, oh yeah, my parents are being mean, and they'd be like, oh, don't worry, we'll help you. And then, she probably needs the money, huh? Because
they're paying for her tuition, which is again, I'm always really weird for that, because in the UK we have like obviously loads of, the student loan system, and I actually in Scotland, as someone living in Scotland, going to Scottish university, my tuition was just free. It wasn't even a loan; it was just free completely for university. So. Yeah, it's part of the reason why I chose to go to uni in Scotland.
But don't Americans always complain about student loans?
I guess so. Maybe it's
I don't know.
Well, maybe as well that if her parents were paying for it and then they decided not to, she wouldn't have time to get a student loan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because she's like leaving in like the next few days, right? So I guess, probably a good point.
The tuition's probably paid by that point, so I don't really know what can be done, but yeah.
True. Oh my goodness, what a plot hole. We got to make a video about this. But true. I guess you can just cancel it. So
True.
yeah, but she probably could have gone on herself. They're going on a road trip because the road trip part of it is like dropping her off, right? So anyway, fine. What a meanie. And you do have this like it also reminds you of when you're a kid where you are like powerless. Like, oh no, they said something and that is how it has to be. Like, this is not good. And it's like, oh, I don't like any of this.
Yeah, and as I said at the beginning, like, you know, obviously, fuck her cop. Fuck her dad for being a cop, but also he's not wrong in a lot of the stuff he's saying. Like, you know, as an actual adult looking back on this, a lot of it is just like, yeah, you know, they are going around fucking stealing as well, stealing, vandalizing, shit like that. You know, I don't care as much about. I don't care as much about the underage drinking stuff. Well, they also stole that sofa and that chair.
Oh yeah, I guess
from an estate sale, but still, they still stole it. You know, they call it it's the whole victimless crime thing, and I could get into a whole thing about like the socio-political side and like the leftist interpretation of like thieving and stuff, but whatever.
I think we're all aware of Mr. R's politics over here, but you know, true.
But I don't think any of them are approaching it from that point of view. They're just approaching it of fuck you, I'll do what I want.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. This is like another 90s thing of like kids stealing stuff. Like I don't remember any kids stealing stuff when I was in school.
Oh no,
seems like crazy.
Oh no, kids stole all the time. There was one of the local corner shops. There was a whole bunch of kids who would just steal their lunch from there every single day. Like literally go and nick like a tenner's worth of food every day from this corner shop for weeks. And eventually it got so bad that the shop basically banned school kids entirely.
This feels like this does feel like 90s kids delinquent thing. It's like, nah, that wasn't how it was back in the youngin' days when I was going. But also, again, I didn't hang out at like shops or anything like that. So maybe the kids were doing it and I just wasn't like paying attention.
I mean, I was in my local Tesco a few months ago and some kids ran out after having stolen some stuff.
Well, like when I worked at the store, like people would steal all the time, but it wasn't really kids ever. It was always like old ladies and coordinated older guys.
We get a whole variety. We get like obviously homeless folks who'll be stealing. We'll get like, you know, people who are off their face who'll come in to steal stuff. And then you'll get the kids. The ones I remember for that is they came in, they threw some of the stuff from one of the shelves at one of the shop assistants who was trying to stop them, and then they called the security guard the N-word and ran away.
Wonderful. The
Scotland,
is,
fucking great country, great youth we've got.
See, yeah, I don't remember any kids being like you would get like guys that were clearly on drugs or something, and they would scream at people. It was always super annoying when you had to like deal with it. I was like, oh god damn it! Like, why couldn't I be on break right now? But usually they would always pay for stuff. It was weird. I feel like the guy he would come in all the time. For some reason, he wasn't banned, but he would always like be paying for his milk, and like after he paid for it, he would start yelling at people or something, or he'd think something was wrong with the milk or something. It was weird. Anyway,
that's very bizarre.
I guess, yeah. When you're on drugs, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense anyway. But true, stealing. Kids don't do that. You're lying, old people. Float back mini game, dinosaur park. Do we do all that? Father shows up scene. That's where we're up to. And then we skate away. We're flipping people off and exploding things, which was fun. And then there's like the world's biggest gumball something, and you explode that. And
that was cool.
Funny. Yeah. And then they head to the Ritz, and we do all the little things here. You want to know what I painted the door?
Go on.
I painted one half blue and one half red. Wow, impressive. I love customization. I always express myself through my art.
I did some stripes and then drew an X on it, and then that was about it.
Yeah. I did like it. Like I like the accuracy of it, and I did like how the paint looked. It felt good.
Yeah, it was really nicely done. Again, a lot of thought put into the mini games. I was more enamored by the mini game where you were doing the slingshot, and then I was like, "Is it going to let me do this?" And then it did, and I shot Slater in the balls with a slingshot, and I couldn't. And I actually laughed a lot at that because the reaction was so perfect.
One time to see what would happen. I didn't hit him in the balls, but I think you said, "Ow, dude." Or something. So
no, I hit him in the balls, and he keeled over and was like actually almost sobbing in pain. And I was like, it was a genuinely really good reaction.
Because you also sweep and you also put the couch down, which is pissing me off a little bit.
And something with the
it's just
couch thing as well is, and I noticed this a few times. Like I mentioned that I got some Jurassic Park vibes from the dinosaur area, and obviously there's vibes throughout. And for a game that's incredibly nostalgic, I thought they showed a lot of restraint for not actually putting in direct pop culture references from the 90s. Like they could have easily during that couch scene just have the character go pivot at one point, which is a Friends reference. If you didn't, it's a very famous Friends reference.
I don't watch these old people shows. I don't know what a friend is, frankly.
Friends was the most popular sitcom like ever made back in the 90s. But yeah, like there's so many moments where I'm like, they could actually just drop a genuine pop culture reference here, and they don't at any point. There's hints to it, there's thematics to it, but they never actually do it. And I think that shows an incredible. That's what I think made me realize, no, this isn't just nostalgia bait, because if it was pure nostalgia bait, it would be actual fucking member berry moment of, you know, these exact things. But it wasn't.
Another thing is that they never give a date, right? There's never like a calendar where you can look and see that it's 1997. I guess you could probably figure it out by like the latest song, and so it has to be after that date at least. But there's no like actual dating, or this is like tied into an event that happens in late 1998 or something. Yeah,
the only the only direct pop culture references are when they tie into the music. So like Apocalypse Now, because there was a soundtrack song from that, and the Transformers movie, which was the 80s. But again, that's purely because of the music. Again, and the music stuff is obviously there. Like I said, there's no direct things. Obviously, all the music is there, but when it comes to everything else, it's not. Which is, I think, interesting.
Yeah, but even the music stuff, because I remember this was like, I saw some tweets about this where it's like, you really chose these songs as like the ones to represent the 90s, but like 4 of the songs are from the 90s or something. Like they're a lot older, and it's clear that like she has like this semi-eclectic taste in music because she's like really into music. It's not like supposed to be representative of this one time period. It's like a weird assortment of songs. So
it's less a yearning for the 90s and more just the 90s felt like an appropriate setting for what they wanted to do. Maybe.
Yeah. But true. And then we skate away. Oh, we said that with the gumball. We arrived there. Oh, we did all of that stuff. Cassandra shows up with Jenny, and we get a breakup scene. My goodness, could you believe she brought them to their super secret location?
Yeah, I thought that the actual argument they had was really good. Like, you know, as far as the breakups go, like as far as like, you know, arguments and fallout of like close friends, because obviously the tension, like because of the little quips that they've been doing to each other throughout the game at that point, like Cassandra dropping little quips, because obviously, like, you know, the trip was her big thing, and Rockford has like kind of fucked it a little bit. And clearly there was tension there, but that be like, oh, they're such good friends, it's not that big a deal. And then it's like, no, this clearly has been on Cassandra's mind, and then it all comes to a head at the Ritz, and it's really good.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. It didn't feel melodramatic in any like bad way, only in good ways, I would say.
And poor Slater is standing there genuinely not sure what to do, because he doesn't know what to do. Like he's probably sad at Rockford, but I just don't think he has it in his heart to like hate. So he's just sat there kind of like, oh no, my 2 best friends are fighting.
Yeah, and he does seem like it's very interesting portrayal of like young masculinity, which I thought was really like impressive. Not necessarily in like, oh, what a great ideal, even though it is kind of a good ideal to be like Slater, I think. But it was like, I feel like a lot of portrayals, especially right now, because of like political stuff, I guess, because of like wanting to highlight like an incel mentality or how this would ferment in young man. He's not like ever trying to be masculine at all. And I feel like that's way more accurate to like how kids actually are, where he's like, I think even when they're outdoors, he's like, I don't like the outdoors. I'm like a more inside kind of guy.
Maybe. I mean, there's a bit of when I think back to my time in high school, one of the big things obviously was there was a lot of, at least in the UK, there was a lot of just sort of casual like homophobia and stuff that went on. So a lot of the performative
should have been using bad words now that you think about it.
But what I just mean is a lot of the performative masculinity when I was in high school, no matter how traditionally masculine someone wanted to be, there was always the performative masculinity of being homophobic, because that's, you know. Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not saying I'm not. By the way, I'm not saying that Slater should have been homophobic. I'm glad he's not, because fuck that. Yeah. Like, you know, we don't. You know, we're not trying to create like a documentary piece on, you know, fucking kids in the 90s. But
but it was a response to me saying it was accurate, so it made sense for you to bring it up. I'll defend you, even though you're wrong. But no, you're kind of right. But I don't know. It was a very like. I feel like the general type of like men are just like frustrated in their masculinity, even when they're young, and like bad relationships with women, and then they're sad, and that's like their entire teenage era or something. I feel like this is a very like I feel like we're too polluted with that in sort of like modern shows and stuff like that. It seems like the only thing you're fascinated about with like a young man would be to explore that sort of thing. So I don't know. It felt like refreshing that he wasn't like that.
I wonder, is that
he like didn't?
Oh, sorry, go.
That was basically done. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I was going to say, I wonder if that's almost like an overcorrection to the previous sort of way of presenting masculinity of just being, you know, almost like a similar thing, but less incely about it. Like, you know, just the like the going out, getting drunk. You know,
like him. Oh, that's why I brought this up, because he doesn't try to save the day in this scene. He's not like, girl, stop fighting or something. He is scared, and he like retreats and into himself and doesn't say anything. And it's like, yes, he doesn't have to be this masculine figure who comes in and says, girls, we're going to be great friends and everybody should do the, I think he might say something like that actually, but it's not like he feels scared, and he feels like, and it's not like he's like so sad that he's scared, or he feels like it's a failure that he's scared. He's just like honest.
He drops like one little thing in there.
That was kind of the pulling from the line earlier when he's like, "Oh, I'm like inside. I don't like outside stuff or something." He's like, he's just being honest. He doesn't feel like he's performing or something like that.
He drops like one little thing in there, and I'm actually really glad, because I think again, in a lot of media, in an argument like that, if someone tries to drop in and try and diffuse, the 99% of the time the media will have both the people who are arguing both turn around and go, "Fuck off, stay out of this," and that didn't happen. They kind of almost just ignored him.
Yeah.
And, you know, it again, nice little departure from what we typically would see in this kind of scenario.
I think a lot of my sort of like of the characters is that they do feel non-tropey in a sense. Like they are like kind of tropey. Like he's the stoner guy, and she's like the edgy hipster girl, and she's the mad girl, but there's a lot more to it, and especially to their relationship, where I feel like there's lots of nuance in the different ways they would talk about things. And they like Cassandra is the angry one, but it's very clear where it comes from, and that she actually is kind of more so the goody two shoes underneath. Yeah, and that comes out sometimes.
For a game that takes less than 4 hours, there is an insane amount of depth to all three of these characters.
Of characterization, definitely, yeah. Because even though I don't know, I've been playing Pragmata, and Pragmata's fine. Actually, Pragmata's probably like a 9 for me right now too. The gameplay is a lot of fun, and the girl is very cute, and you do want to like get her gifts and stuff when you're playing the game. But it's like this main character is the most boring guy. He's just like, man, how am I gonna get out of here? Hey, don't do that. That's not safe or something. And it's like, what did I play before this? There was something else. Oh, I was playing The Order 1886, and I was like, oh, these characters, you know, they're a bit generic over here. And it's like, dude, is the only people that have ever made a good video game Naughty Dog? Is that what I'm learning here? And I was like, oh my God, the great Mixtape has made good characters, and now I can believe in video games again.
Yeah.
Woo!
I remember playing Ghost of Tsushima, and I think I came to loggerheads with a bunch of my friends about this, because I think Ghost of Tsushima is a fantastic game, apart from its main protagonist, who is the dampest wet rag I've ever seen in a video game.
He's just something, right?
Yeah, Jin is just a nobody. And I'm hoping that when I play Yote, the leader in that will be better, because I found Jin incredible. I found everyone around him.
About that girl.
I found everyone around Jin very interesting and cool, and the world he was in really interesting and cool, and the story he was in really interesting and cool. But he was just kind of like this kind of it was just there was just nothing to it.
Yeah, I think this goes back to something we were talking about earlier, where it's like the difference between wanting the character to just be a projection of like the player and of them actually being a character, where like something like The Last of Us Part 2 goes in the complete opposite direction, where it's going to make you play as a character you really hate for at least a prolonged period of time, and sort of play with you not being the character on screen, and they're going to say things and you're not getting a choice.
Although as we all know, Abby is the best character in The Last of Us.
We definitely agree there, but you did hate her for a little bit, and don't pretend you didn't. Just
no, we did. Now, like, I kind of caught on pretty quickly. I was kind of like, oh God, they're going to make me like her by the end of this, aren't they? And then I was like, okay, yeah.
It's a great moment. And because even I had the thing of like, you're not going to do this to me. I'm not going to like her, and then sure enough. Because earlier we were talking about the Artful Escape and how it's like they give you the options to customize it, like it is supposed to be you, or you're supposed to put your flair on it, but like he's already a pre-established character. So I feel like the guy you're describing from Ghost of Tsushima is like the mid ground, where I'm sure he has things where he says things, but he's such like a blanket male guy, where it's like anybody that plays this game, or any guy that plays this game, can be like, that's me, bro. That's me. And that's even a thing, like the terrible woke, like this new gen woke people where they're always like, or anti-woke people that complain about wokeness stuff, where it's like they just say like, yeah, I want to pretend it's me or something. That's like a big thing they unironically say all the time. And that's why they don't want women in their games or whatever. It's just like, ugh, how boring.
How am I meant to relate to this? Says the 300-pound balding greasy man playing, until he goes back to play God of War.
Muscles. I am a samurai. Oh, I am a God of War too.
Yeah,
True.
It's just like how
unbelievable stuff.
Like the idea that someone like Asmongold is trying to relate to any of the traditional male characters in video games is so fucking funny because he streams with face cam and you know what he looks like.
He really is the worst. I don't know how much you've actually listened to him, but he really is the worst.
So I listened.
Caricature.
So it's really interesting because I listened to Asmongold years ago
because he was a WoW guy.
And I swear, years and years ago, he had moments of being almost woke. I swear, I've seen videos of him calling out transphobia in his chat, and now he's basically He
got old.
Yeah,
that's what all.
It's not even that he got old. He's just a grifter. He's just a grifter. I don't think he believes he doesn't believe any of the shit he's saying.
No, I disagree entirely. I think there's like one grifter to ever exist. I think they're all just this is stupid. I reject the grifter label for all of them. I know there's temptation to be like, they can't be this dumb. They have to be pretending. I am here to push back and say they are just that dumb.
It's not that they're dumb. It's just that I don't think they actually have any conviction in what they're saying. That's what I mean by the grift. Not that they're stupid.
I think they have great conviction. They just are that dumb.
Oh, okay.
I think they're dumb and they got conviction. But yeah, I know. Me and Alina argue about this constantly, where he's like, obviously this is like a pretend person.
I'm not saying that he's like a good guy underneath all that. The fact that he still says all this means he's still an absolutely abhorrent piece of shit. It's just that a lot of them don't, will just say anything for money kind of thing.
I think he legitimately cares that's a lady in God of War because he noticed a trend that girls were in games and it started to annoy him. And then he said it one time and people got mad at him for it. So he dug his heels in and then it happened again. And then he got even further down. And anyway, I don't know if we Asmongold, what a fella. He's the worst.
Asmongold and Grums, they are the two. They are the incel kings, the video game incel kings.
I don't think I've ever heard Grums speak, so he's like not even on my mind. There are other ones.
Oh yeah, Grums is the Twitter boy.
Yeah. I've seen his tweets. I even know the little icon he has. But true. Where are we up to? We were up to they were breaking up and it was good and masculinity portrayal in Slater or something. We go into Slater's room next, Mr. R. We're nearly done, I promise. And we get Artful Escape references, and it's the most I've ever cared about Artful Escape in my life. The guitar was there.
I saw
hints that Go ahead.
I saw the guitar and they made a hint about how it's from the past, but it looks like it's from the future, and I was like, that's cute. I'll take that cute reference.
I was like, oh my god, I have some feelings about the Artful Escape right now. Maybe it wasn't that bad.
Oh my god, Artful Escape in a good game.
Yes. But true.
Artful Escape is
what a
good.
Jump between games, huh?
Yeah.
What's their next game going to be like?
I do wonder. Because the team size didn't look like it increased that much either. They just spent a lot of time. Because it was 5 years?
Yeah, well, it was 5 years or something, yeah.
And I guess when you think about it...
got delayed a bunch.
Yeah, 5 years on a 4-hour game is fucking wild, but you see it in the detail. Again, when you look at Journey, which is a 2-hour game, the budget and time spent on Journey was mental for a 2-hour game. But it shows, because every microsecond of that game is incredible. And looks gorgeous and plays gorgeous.
I played Journey when I was too young, I think. So I just was I just climbed up a mountain or something and didn't really feel anything from Journey.
Maybe Journey should be one of the games we play.
maybe one of these days. We can play Abzu or whatever. That one looks cool. That's underwater or something, and people say it's like Journey. But maybe. But true. There were some things in there What else? Oh, his mum offers them drinks. Very funny. Oh, and Slater has a album or whatever, and he shows her a song to cheer her up. Oh, how cute! And then there's like a bunch of techno visuals or something, or
Yeah,
Universal.
that scene
cool.
was so cool. I'd love to know how they actually did it, because I was just like, is some of this real time and some of this
Seemed
FMV,
crazy.
or is it all FMV? How are they doing? Like, there was like the fact that
Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh. What were you saying, Mr. R?
What was I saying?
Or was I saying something? We had a little hiccup, everybody. But we were saying something about, we got over. Oh, you were talking about the Slater scene where he shows her the music.
Like
the
how cool. Like, again, I was trying to work out, is this FMV? Is there FMV and real time? Is it just FMV? Like, how did they do it? And I know it's not that big a deal, but there was just a bit of me that was like, I don't know how I would go about making this scene in a video game. This moment in a video game. Would I just do full FMV, in which case they had to do all this stuff outside of that? Or is there a real-time element here, because the character models look like the real-time character models? And if it is a mix of the two, it's really well done, and I'm really interested in that. I'm really curious. I think it's just an awesome moment for me. Purely, I was kind of just like game dev geeking out a bit, being like, how the fuck have they done this? And it's probably
the practical.
Yeah. It's probably quite simple. It's probably quite simple as well, but I just haven't really thought about it. But it was just a moment where I was like, oh, I want, because I'll inevitably see something cool and be like, oh, I wonder how they did that, and then I'll think about it.
I did not have the practical enough expertise to think about all this stuff, but I did think it looked visually cool. So that's got to count for something around here.
Absolutely.
But true, it was cool. Oh, and then obviously we get the finding the 3 movies in the rental store drunk mini game.
That is good. I was actually trying to play it cool to try and not look drunk, so I didn't realize there were 2 achievements.
Exactly the same thing.
There are 2 achievements for actually just being an absolute fucking lech in there and fucking everything up. I thought it was a bit of a shame, and I understand why they had to do it for tech. But I did think it was a bit of a shame that the movies and all the sections are basically the same. Because I went through every category to see, but I did make sure to get what they wanted, which was 2 weeklies and 1 new release. I did make sure to do that.
I think I did that, but yeah, it was cute. We liked that sequence. Then I have a sparser notes for the rest of them. But then we have the Ferris Bueller running sequence to save Cassandra, which was really cool. One of the highlights for the game. Yeah,
that was really good.
You're going in and out of places. Cool song.
A bit silly as well, like
with the father.
Like you you slide over the table in that birthday party. It's like
yeah.
It just gets sillier and sillier. Oh, I think I half fucked up the jump, so you basically end up face planting and sort of sliding along it. And just destroying everything. And then she's like, sorry, like, happy birthday. I think she might even say happy birthday. I can't remember.
She also kicks the football. I remember that part.
That was great, yeah. That is straight out of, like, I think that feels like straight out of like an 80s American high school movie, where the kind of thing where they'll just I have seen scenes like that, not to that kind of, the stakes aren't usually that high, but there's usually a bit where there's like this, a character will do the long run through the school, and you see like little moments with all the different characters, and then they'll do something like that. Like, that is, I definitely feel like that feels like something I've seen in a high school movie before, like that football kick thing whilst running to something else.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes me think of 10 Things I Hate About You, I guess. But
yes, it does. That's exactly, that is spot on. It feels so much like 10 Things I Hate About You. That moment.
We watched that in high school in drama class. So
that's such a good film. I love 10 Things I Hate About You.
I thought it was cool for a drama class movie we had to watch.
I mean, because it's Shakespeare, isn't it? I can't remember which one. Is it?
Yeah, it's one of them or something. Yeah. I don't know which one either. But true. And then, oh my God, Mr. R, you didn't speak. Sorry, now I'm concerned that we dropped again.
No, I'm here.
Oh.
We're all good.
Then because I didn't actually write this down, but then we get the sequence where Rockford kind of gets arrested. He doesn't actually say she's arrested, I don't think. She's just like, I'll take you home or something, right? But anyway, Rockford tells him, like, oh, you got to let her do something. It's the setup for the conclusion later. And it feels like he has a moment of, like, realizing that maybe he's in the wrong here. And this will pay off later when he sort of is on their side.
And then he, like, quotes a song at her, and she's like, fuck. I've been beaten.
True. Oh yes, that was a great moment where it was like, it's like, oh, he was once like them too, even though he's like a hard ass like parent. Like, he used to be the Like everybody went through this. It's like the cyclical thing of like one time
Yeah.
he was.
And he
was the
specifically
cool guy
quotes
too.
something from like what, the late 60s, early 70s, is it? Is it
Yeah,
a song from like
I can't remember what it was
1969?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
she's just stunned. She just gets in the car because she has no.
Because that's a big thing in American culture, right? The hippies then became the Reagan people, where they like completely ideologically flipped, and like some of them stayed being hippies, but a big majority of them were like just hippies because it was like cool, and then they're like were Reagan because now it's like they're in their 30s and they are scared of black people and they want
keep all their
tax
money.
cuts or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. Yeah. So it's a cute little, like, as you get older, like, what's the stupid meme about how everybody when they're older gets a brain and becomes a conservative or something?
Yeah,
Conservatives love that.
my dad loves to say that people get more conservative as they get older. Although I've only gotten more left wing as I've gotten older, but.
See, Mr. R, the test for you in your lifetime is going to be if the next wave of left wing is very pro AI and you have to say robots aren't real and they get mad at you or something. That's my prediction for the future. We'll have to see. Because right now, leftists very anti-AI. We hate Elite RE around here.
Well, Elite RE does. Elite RE studies like real AI, not this dog shit. I know he likes the dog shit as well.
He does also love that AI that you don't like. He loves generating things.
Yeah.
But you can't win all the games, huh? Oh,
no,
yeah, he's
can't
also
win
getting rich. Don't believe him that he's not. Now, what were we saying? There was actually a point.
Getting arrested.
He used to be a hippie.
Yeah.
He was hippie. Well, that was a good moment. But true. Then Slater busts her out, and don't worry, the ladies are gonna love him later because he stood up to the law or something. It was very funny. Then we drive to the party, and with the fireworks and the flying car, it was fucking sick.
It was very sick.
I love the intro on this song.
I saw the achievement for that as well, and it's like conduct every firework, which is insane. Don't miss a single firework.
I feel like I did that, but I didn't get no.
I have no idea how you would even do that. There were so many.
Were there? Maybe I was missing a lot of them that I that I only saw a few and thought I got them all. But there was a lot, I think. I don't know. But I like the intro to this one where she's like, this is like one of Cassandra's songs or something. I like it too. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, that's cute. Because they're back together and stuff.
Yeah. And again, another moment like with the car head banging thing, where even when the camera like zooms out and you think you're just watching a cutscene, it's still interactive. Yeah. You can still press the buttons and you can see this tiny little Rockford, move her arms and everything.
Standing up and doing the fireworks. Yeah, that's cool. And also the way like the girl that's like super popular shows up and she's all in the light and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're a little Rockford or something because they know her sister.
Yeah.
It's all very cute. And then they have the final party scene, which you control Slater and then you go around and you like I
thought that was a bit of an interesting choice that the final section of gameplay is Slater rather than Rockford. But
yeah, it was cute. I think it's just because, like, you want to watch Rockford, I guess. But it is like you see her and Cassandra, like, well, actually, I don't think Cassandra's with her.
No, Rockford is having a friendly conversation with Jenny, like, trying to be nice.
Progress.
And then there's this really funny bit where you find Cassandra and she's being talked at by some guy, and it is exactly like
she mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that picture, that famous picture of like a nightclub where the guy's talking to the girl. And it is I was just like, that is exactly that. And I stood there for a while thinking, is he going to run out of things to say? I got bored actually waiting for him to finish. I was like, fuck this, I can't actually be dealing.
Yeah, because he's talking about baseball or something. She's like, you guys got to save me. And I kept waiting for somebody to save her, but I don't think they did.
Something another game dev moment that I thought was interesting there is I wondered, like, the fact that they've got the camcorder up the whole time and it's kind of low res and there's not as many of the visual post effects and lighting going on. I wonder if that was like a technical choice so they could have more animated characters in the scene without melting the GPU, because obviously skeletal animation isn't cheap. So, and they've got a lot of characters there, and you can see they're all not quite as animated as smoothly. Like the jerkiness of the animation is even more present there, I felt, and they've got a much more limited line of motion. I wonder if all of those things, and including the camcorder view, are all like little ways to help with the technical issues that would definitely come from a scene that busy.
I didn't notice any slowdown or nothing like that or whatever. But
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. The changes they made were to prevent slowdown from happening, because obviously you've suddenly got more characters than the rest of the game combined at that point in one very combined space, and all on camera, most of them on screen at the same time. So yeah, it was just a little moment where I was like, I wonder if that's the camera resolution is partly to help with that.
I believe it. I buy into this story. Oh, there was also a thing where like you see Rockford there, and you kind of want to linger with Rockford, and it's kind of weird that you can walk away from her. I thought so. That was like a weird moment. I thought, which was also good. Also, there's a guy that jumps off into a pool and then
just
disappears.
disappears.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, the party scene, it was a bit odd for me. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. It didn't feel as final, so I'm glad the scenes we got after were better.
It's like, interesting. See, I was liking it as like a final scene, but I was happy that it continued a little bit. But I was fully prepared for it to be the last scene, which was interesting. But yes, and then they show up, they got a bunch of things, and then does the fire happen before the cops, or do the cops happen then the fire? I don't exactly remember.
The fire happens because there's a rogue. They're all sat on the roof at this point of the Ritz, and the fireworks are going off, and then a rogue firework sets the Ritz on fire, and then the cops start showing up.
Yeah. Because they have all the fireworks. I forgot about that. And then Cassandra has the moment where she confronts her dad, and it's really cool. She like marches to him. It's like all slow mo, like it's gonna be like she's gonna punch the car or something.
And then she's just like, "I'm gonna make this place. I'm gonna be even worse if you make me stay here."
Yes, and she's gonna burn it all down. She's been saying the whole time, and it's with the lighter that she got at the beginning from Rockford. My goodness. But yes, that's like that's a great scene, a great bit at the end. I think I mentioned in my overall thoughts that it was very cathartic, childishly cathartic, I think I called it.
Yeah.
And then we fly home, and that's a great sequence.
It is great. We get to see all the places we've visited so far. It's, you know what, as well, it's a really nice town. Like, I know obviously teenagers want to escape, but I wouldn't object to living in a town like that. It looks like a really nice fucking town.
It does. It's like a scene. It's like California or whatever, right? So yeah, it looks pretty good. I don't know. It's a little rural for me. I don't really like it. But yeah, I don't know. In terms of suburbs, it's like a pretty nice suburb, I guess. But yeah, it's like a bunch of American suburbs. They just look a little different. They always look a little off. Even like The Last of Us, when you're journeying through them, it's like America's a little weird, huh? These houses are a little too big, and it's like a little. But even in Harry Potter, like the fucking British stuff, where all the houses look exactly the same, is some weird ass shit. I don't know about what you got going on over there.
Oh, we have a lot. You go to certain towns in the UK, and all the houses look the same because they'll have all been built at the same time. There'll have been like big new build projects all happening at the same time.
Back in the 1400s or something, it's so old. Not over here, I'll tell you what. But true. These places got different looking things. But nothing will ever be set in an Australian suburb, so I'll never get to see it in a video game. Maybe their next game, but then it'll be some Melbourne suburb, some ritzy-ditzy Melbourne suburb.
Full of liberals and wokes.
Oh, definitely full of No, if it's in the suburbs, it's probably not going to be too liberal, huh? Melbourne's a very, very big city. That's where all the liberals would be. But true. Now, the suburbs is where the literal Liberal Party people would be, which is our Conservative Party. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's how it works over there. Yeah.
The Liberals, the Liberal National Party.
But that's because they'll be calling themselves like classical liberals, which is what.
No, it was way before that. That's like a Dave Rubin thing. It's just I don't know why it's liberal versus Labour.
No, but that's what I mean. Like the Dave Rubin like stuff is based on the idea of classical liberalism, which is like basically.
Yeah, I would have to know more about like the history of the parties and if they were always like that, because I don't think the Liberal Party was too popular back. Like, I think there was a different party. I don't know. Australian politics, fascinating to all involved, I think. Anyway, flying home, it's terrific. And then there's the don't let go into the let go scene at the end.
I did. When I saw that, I immediately thought I was like, the don't's gonna disappear, isn't it? And then it did.
I didn't. I was surprised. I was like, oh, good job, game. Good job. Very clever.
Also, just like, they mentioned Cassandra used the door. There wasn't any more sneaking, she didn't have to feel like she was sneaking around and stuff. It was cute.
Oh, yeah, true. But yes, and it was very cute. And that was the end of the old game.
Yeah.
We're giving it a 9 out of 10. It was very good.
I have upped my score to a 9. I've decided.
Oh, I'm so convincing.
As I said, I was umming and erring about it, even going into this, but yeah. And then again, we got the land acknowledgement as well in the credits. Good lads.
True. Now, what if there was a land acknowledgement, but the game was really bad? Oh, is that a moral issue? Does that then make the land acknowledgement look stupid? Or
I don't think so.
No, probably, definitely not. True. Oh, I do have miscellaneous notes. Let's see if we definitely covered all these, right? It lets you rewind if you die. Get it? True. Catching moments to remember by memory is true. The music stuff, we talked about that. I had no idea I liked Artful Escape so much until I saw the stuff in Slater's room. Talked about that. It's kind of impossible to do a sequel, but I'd love one. But even without it, I would love to see what this studio does next. True.
Absolutely. Yeah, I am very interested to see what they come up with next.
We will probably won't see it for a few years, though. Isn't that upsetting?
Most likely.
I want it now. But yeah, this is another thing I kind of looked into a little bit, where I was like, how much has it actually sold, to see if like the controversy had worked for them. But the only statistic I could find is that like there was a report like in the first 7 days they sold 100,000 on Steam. But other than that, like they haven't released any figures, so I don't know. But hopefully they make a lot of money and can make a big game again.
Yeah, I've literally just went and had a look at this Game Sensor posted estimated 100,000 copies sold, which would be about $2 million. Was it $20 a pop? That sounds about right.
Didn't they get a $10 million thing from Annapurna or whatever? So that doesn't sound good.
I guess it depends.
Yeah, I think that's just the first week, so maybe they sold millions the next month, and maybe when they get the Game of the Year award, they will sell even more copies. It's in the lead, Mr. R said earlier. What were the other two games you played this year?
The other two games I played this year were Junkster, the game I worked on.
Oh, yeah.
And Forza Horizon 6, which which is made by a studio I worked at previously, and where my best friend works at as well. So been playing through that.
Car games.
Silly car games. Set in Japan though.
True, I did know that. One of them was set in Australia. I remember the marketing for that one.
That was 3. That was Forza Horizon 3. So that was before I started. I was there for some of 4 and some of 5.
Oh.
I was there for the DLC and sort of live service part of 4, and there for the pre-production of 5.
Well, I didn't work on a video game ever, so that's pretty impressive to me. Now, true. We'll hopefully have that game linked in the description. Not Forza Horizon. They got to pay me for that one. But Junkster, we can put that one in there. But true, I think this was a long one, Mr. R. I think we're at the end.
It was, yeah. 3.5 hours nearly. It is very much time for me.
It's an Elite RE discussion. Yeah. What are we talking about, Naruto right now?
It is time for me to go and have lunch.
It's no longer my birthday as of this minute.
Oh shit! Woo! It's just at midnight. Wow.
Yes. I think my mother, before I came out here, was implying that she wanted me to be back in there before midnight or something. So, whoops.
You need to get yourself your own house so you can sit in the car outside of it without curfew.
When I was in New Zealand, I certainly didn't have my old house, but I did have a different place. But true, I need even when I get my own place, I'll still sit in a car, except I don't have a license. I'm just behind on all things, huh? Anyway, I'll tell you what I'm not behind on. Talking about Mixtape. We've done it for 3 hours now. We don't know what we're going to do next. We haven't even really discussed it, so we can't even tease that.
Yeah.
We're averaging, one every quarter? So we'll see. We'll see everybody in September for Metal Gear Solid or something. I don't know. That's not a promise. I shouldn't have said that. Don't get excited. We have to confirm. We can neither confirm nor deny. But true, you ready to wrap this up? I can hit him with the line.
I think so, yeah. If we do something like Metal Gear Solid, it'll probably just be one game, not 2. The reason we're doing 2 is because they're short. And
they're very long, these freaking Metal Gear games, right? And they'll take me a little while to do if we do them.
They can be, yes.
Okay, True. I'm going to hit him with the line. Support links in the description below. Thanks.